Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Hey! Here he is! I'm back. You guys are still here. That's not as exciting. The exciting part is I'm back.
Oh, jeez.
We saw you. We saw you.
Yeah.
You dropped your videos. You was very entertaining.
Thank you. I was
Cut
watching.
Pass Trade.
I was
the
watching
chat.
the back 2/3 of that segment. I was actually in a restaurant eating kind of bad pizza. I'm not going to say where it was because the pizza was bad. I still ate it, but it was not good.
Yeah.
Powered through.
I co-signed the place he's talking about. It's not good.
And I turned the volume up all the way, and good thing it wasn't that crowded in there. I wonder why. But because I ran out. My wife was at an appointment. I came out, and I see you, and I saw the video, and I'm like, man, I look so pained in those videos.
Listen, you was hurt. It was like choosing between like children or something.
Yeah, it was
You
tough.
like,
Yeah.
Those were tough. Mike did a great job with those questions.
Yeah, it was hard.
You were wrong on a couple, but that's okay. You're allowed to
I
be wrong.
was?
Oh, yeah.
Were you not wrong on a couple?
No, I'm never wrong.
Well, F you. All right, we got a lot to get to, but I got to do some quick ranting here. First of all, I want to know, let's see who remembers this line. Or what movie is this from? I said it before. I don't know what made me say this. Somebody said this. Somebody said something similar
Garrett's
to this.
just talking crazy before the show.
Yeah, G's just going nuts.
Yeah.
And I said, I forgot the exact line now. Oh, yeah, he goes, I can't swim, so I keep my black ass out the pool.
Yep.
What movie is that from?
I can't think of where it's from. I should know this.
It's a great movie, but it feels like an obscure line from this movie. It's a movie that's been out a while. Can anybody tell me what movie that's from?
The chat is pretty good.
I don't know.
Chat is pretty good.
I even know the character's name. I don't know the actor's name because he hasn't been a
What's
lot.
the character's name?
I'm keeping an eye on the chat.
Give me a.
Should I say the character's name or
Yeah.
no?
No, give me a frame of when this came out. Give me a era.
I want to say 90s. I'll tell you who the star of the movie was.
Okay.
He's been in a lot of movies. So.
Okay.
The star is Nicolas Cage.
Raising Arizona.
It's
Leaving
not
Las
his
Vegas.
line. Obviously, he's not black.
Con Air.
No, but that's obviously a great movie.
Face
as
Off.
well.
I'm just naming every Nicolas Cage movie. I
Yeah,
can
no,
think of.
Face Off. Good one. That's an underrated one.
It has
Half
nothing to do
Baked
with.
isn't a Nicolas Cage movie, is
No.
it? Yeah, okay. I'm just guessing.
Is anybody
Chat here.
getting good answers?
No.
Nobody.
Half Baked is our first guess, so I don't think so. I
I'll
don't
tell
know
you,
what it is.
the character's name was Donnie Estricky.
Yeah, I got nothing on this.
Donnie
Yeah.
Estricky.
How are
This
we
is before
leading the
my
show
time.
with this?
They give him podcasts
Listen,
to do this.
don't worry about it.
It's a great time.
By the way, while you're thinking about that, let me say a couple other things. Number one, Nick Cannon is a complete dope. Like, stop having kids with every single. You don't have to have a child with every single.
Oh,
woman
that
you
thing
meet.
he said about Taylor Swift was awful.
Number two,
It was awful.
What he said about
He's
that?
like, I'm gonna have a baby with her.
Yeah, you were listening to Howard Stern.
No, I just saw it on social
Yeah,
media.
because he said it on Howard Stern.
Oh,
now,
did he?
first of all, to defend him, even though he's a dope, Howard specifically asked him, was like, well, you've had a kid with 72 different women. What famous people would you like to have a kid with? And he's like,
Taylor
I'm
Swift.
not going to answer that. And then he goes,
Goaded him
and
into
then
it.
Howard says, well, what about Taylor Swift? By the way,
all
Taylor
right.
Swift, congratulations. You've made a ton of money. You're completely untalented. Your music sucks.
Whoa.
No offense.
Whoa.
No offense. It's just my opinion. You can say I'm untalented. I don't care. Pop music sucks. Let's all admit that together. Pop music is generally trash.
I have an 11-year-old daughter. She doesn't listen to Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift sucks.
I'm
That's
shocked.
because when she went pop, she got worse.
Oh, well, listen,
when she's
all I
country.
know is I said to you-
have some guesses from the chat, Bull.
I said to you two knuckleheads, what's her best song? I played it. It's garbage. The video's garbage. It's all terrible.
All
Go
right,
ahead. I'm
first
pissing
of all,
off everybody
we'll,
today.
We'll go back to
Wow.
that. But
Yeah.
anyway, Gone in 60 Seconds from Creative Juice. Is that the movie?
That's
winner,
it.
Winner. He
Gone
was the
in
first one to guess
60
it.
I saw
seconds.
that. That was a good
I
movie.
saw that too.
That's a good
Donnie
movie.
Estricky. I don't remember why he was saying, because somebody did something stupid, and then he says that line.
Yeah, it spawned a conversation. We were just sitting there talking. Like I was like, listen, we're not gonna be in space like that. Like, what's the name said it the best? Cedric the Entertainer. Listen, we don't go to space and go places until the white people go. When y'all go and y'all figure out the Mars
That's
and
right.
all that,
That's why I thought of the line.
Yeah, we'll be coming after you, but we're not going to pioneer nothing. You're going to try to get us up there and just cut all the air off? No, we're not about to do that.
And let me say one other thing, okay? Like, I don't know what's happening that people don't take pride in their work anymore. I mean, we all have bad days. I'm just going nuclear on everybody.
What happened on Thursday?
I went to this restaurant for lunch with my wife and my son on Wednesday, right? After we did the show, we went for lunch. Tuesday, sorry. Went for lunch. I'm not going to say the name of the place again because, so there's this place in Rocky River, I'll say it's in Rocky River, that I go for burgers a lot. Their burgers are excellent. They have really good burgers.
McDonald's, Burger King.
No. I don't eat that crap. I mean, you'd think I do. Believe it or not, as fat as I am, I really don't eat a lot of fast food. Stunningly. I really don't.
He sits down and does nice
I like
food
to sit and have a nice meal and go to good places. So I never eat I mean, I'm not never, but almost never eat McDonald's or Burger King. So I'm in this restaurant, and this restaurant, I've been there many times. I go because their burgers are good, but their customer service sucks. The atmosphere sucks. Like, it's a great location. It should be a great the owner of this restaurant just doesn't give a shit, apparently, because he has the most skanky-looking people working in his store, his restaurant. You'd think you would care about the people that are presenting your business. And then the food, for the first time, wasn't that good. And I said to my wife, I'm never coming back here again. And the place is never crowded. I wish I could say what it was because they deserve to be ripped, but I don't want to do that.
It was a packed house. It was a packed house. I can't believe there ain't nobody here the last time.
Think about, folks, if you own a freaking restaurant, do you want your customers to be turned off? I was my wife, my son, and I were one of 2 tables in the place. We waited forever for our food. My burger got overcooked. The person that was the waitress, she was a disaster. She was a total mess. I was like nauseated by her being my waitress, and I'm not like, it's just she was just gross, and everything was gross. And have some freaking pride. Now maybe if I was in a restaurant, you'd find me gross. I don't know. It's not that she was an ugly woman. I'm not saying like about her looks. It was just the way she carried herself. It was disgusting.
He came.
I am not. If your restaurant, please take pride. Keep it clean. Have good employees. I know it's hard to, and it shouldn't be hard to get employees. How about you pay people a decent freaking wage, and then you'll have good employees? How about that?
Bull, you know what we do take pride in here at UCSS? Is your bet of the day.
Is he freaking interrupting my rant?
Yes,
right
I am
now?
interrupting.
It was in an Anthony way. Yes, he did.
In Hey Ohio,
crap,
Bet Rivers
hold
Online Sportbook is the place to be for every single game. Now is the perfect time to join Bet Rivers Sportbook. When you use code SPORTS, you'll receive a second chance bet up to $500. Get in on all the action with weekly specials on your favorite sports like basketball, hockey to help you win big. Check out BetRivers.com or download the Bet Rivers app today for the latest lines, odds, and boosts.
I love Bet Rivers. It's a great sports book. It's really easy to use. It's user-friendly, so go check it out. I make my best bets off the Bet Rivers Sportsbook every day. I am on fire with baseball. What am I on baseball now, 6-4?
6-4.
6-4. I'm 500 overall, but we're
How
focusing
you
on
got 2 bets today,
I'm
boo?
going 2 bets. I'm on fire.
I broke Mike's rules because he let me produce.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Mike, I'm giving you 2 bets too. Book it. Pirates plus 1.5 against the Cardinals. Now, this was a risky play because I don't like the Pirates pitcher, Vince Velasquez. He sucks. I don't know why he's in the majors. But the Cardinals don't have a good pitcher, and the Cardinals are a mess right now. They're completely scuffling. The Pirates are a young, interesting team that's going to be good in like 2 years. Right now, they're hot with the bats. In another 2 weeks, they're going to get ice cold and lose 14 out of 18. But right now, they're hot. They're not ready to cool off yet, and I'll take the 1.5. The Rays seems like a crazy bet because in theory, right, they're what, 12-0 now?
11-0, 12-0.
11-0, whatever. 12. I think it's 12-0. And you're like, well, they can't keep winning, right? But, well, why not? And maybe they'll go 162-0.
Who's pitching today for them?
Jeffrey Springs is pitching for the Rays. He's been absolute. I had him on my fantasy team last year. He was great. This is one of the more, since the beginning of last year, he's been one of the best pitchers in baseball, and nobody knows him.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're a fantasy baseball guy or one of the 82 Rays fans, nobody knows who this guy is. He's been absolutely lights out. I'll lay the 1.5. The Red Sox, by the way, are only a game under 500 in last place in the East, but they're already 7 games out of first.
That's crazy. Who's pitched for Boston?
So there you go. What's that?
Who's starting for Boston, you know?
I can't remember.
Sale went yesterday.
Yeah, I can't remember. No, it's not Evaldi, and I can't remember. So those are the best bets. By the way, in addition to being on this show today, of course, I'm going to be doing a live stream courtesy of Bet Rivers tonight. It's going to be like old school radio. You can listen, tweet me your questions. I will answer your questions live on the air. We'll talk NBA playoffs and MLB season. 1 hour live stream. I tweeted the link earlier from 5 to 6 tonight. Anthony, what's up?
Yeah, so guys, we have a little bit of breaking news here. Steve, you want to take tag board full? Cleveland Browns and First Energy mutually agreed to end stadium naming rights agreement. Our home stadium will return to its former name, Cleveland Browns Stadium.
First of all, that's laughable because it's only going to return to that for 10 seconds before they get another naming rights. They're doing that because First Energy is a shady company. It was involved with illegal payoffs with some of our state representatives who were disgraceful, and idiots out there voted for these people again, put them back in the state house.
That's crazy.
Now they're trying to make it 60% to get an amendment for people that want to change laws. It's the people that run this friggin' state, not the idiots in the Senate and the House.
You look at the wrong camera.
And if 50% of the people want to change something, that should be it.
You're at the wrong camera.
I don't give a rat's ass.
There you go. You guys got to go to him. He's not going to go to you.
Go to me. Go to me.
What he said. First Energy Stadium. Hey, so I think the Bengals get new stadium, right?
No.
They thinking about it in lieu of the $400 million.
There is some talk about that.
Yeah.
They did finally go with naming rights and changed it last year to Paycor Stadium for Paul Brown for the first time.
So
that's going right into Joe
they
Burrow's
gotta pay
pocket.
Joe
Yeah, that's
going
all
right
in
Joe Burrow's pocket.
So, and maybe this means if the Bengals get one, I'll see how much taxpayer dollars they get. Maybe the Browns will switch it up. But
the Browns have to have a new stadium, guys. And I hate Jimmy should. The only thing I'll give Jimmy credit for is he paid a lot for the renovations. He paid more than most owners do. He should pay for it all. I know it's not going to happen, so I'm not going to waste my time. The fans shouldn't pay for any of it. Either way, they need a new stadium. That stadium's shit. It's complete shit. Let's be honest. The sound system sucks. The stadium sucks. It's awful. We need a modern stadium. We need a dome. Don't be a dope. I don't want to stand out. I'm not standing out. Not that I go to games. Nobody really wants to be in the cold. You pretend because you think you're tough and from Cleveland that you want to be in the cold. Most of you don't want to be in the cold.
I don't think a dome is coming here.
Why?
Really?
I got the strong impression when we had our sit down with Jimmy and D at the owners' meetings. Jimmy was asked basically, what if the city says they want a dome? And Jimmy was half joking and laughing, but he said, like, well, how much are they going to pay for it? I don't think the Haslams have any interest in footing the bill for a dome stadium because it's so expensive. I mean, Buffalo's building a brand new stadium and it's not going to have a roof on it because
that's the craziest
because I agree, but the roof component is so much more expensive even over and above the normal stadium.
The Haslams paid. What are the Browns' valuation? What's their valuation now?
Oh, I don't
billions.
Yeah, I don't know.
The Browns have gone up in value,
of course,
in 10 years.
But that's not liquidity. That's just on
fair.
paper.
But if they wanted to sell it, that it could be money. Like, being an owner of football is basically printing money.
Yes.
Okay. The Haslams probably not arguably, they're in the conversation for the worst sports owner of the last decade. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Of any team in any sport.
Yeah, sure. Look at the record.
They're bottom 5. This character right here, who somehow is rich. You know, he started on third, think he hit a triple because his daddy was rich. Now he made more money in shady ways, allegedly, rated by the FBI.
$3.8 billion is the worth now.
$3.8 billion?
Yeah, the Browns valuation.
Is that really what it is?
Yeah.
They paid what, $1 billion for the Browns? So in 10 years, they've done nothing with this franchise. Now it's in a little better shape right now. We'll see where it goes. If Deshaun Watson's a good quarterback again, then it'll eventually be good. If not, they're going to be shit for another 5 years. But they've done nothing with this organization. He's been a terrible ownership. One stupid hire after the next, one mistake after the next, shady dealings, guys behind the scenes getting in trouble, all kinds of nonsense. He can't pay for the friggin' stadium. Of course, the city's going to chip in. The county's going to chip
You
in.
missed this.
All those shady dealings and briberies and paid off allegedly. That stuff's going on.
You missed something big here.
What?
He just bought a whole nother team.
He bought a freaking other team. He just paid out $1 billion like it's nothing. He owns the Columbus Crew. He owns the Milwaukee Bucks, part of the team.
Douse that gasoline on the fire.
He is printing money. Don't tell me you can't afford a dome. What the hell's the point?
I'm not saying he can't afford it. I'm telling you, I don't think they want to put it up.
Well, then don't give him a new stadium. F him.
Well, you just said they need a new stadium.
Well, I'm not giving it to him.
And that's, but that's why.
And now
he's just chasing his tail in circles.
Let me talk to Justin Bibb right now. Justin Bibb, I'm going to look at the camera for this one. Justin Bibb, don't give them a freaking dime unless they put a roof on that thing, Justin Bibb.
The owners' meetings was
You want
the
to be
first.
president? You better listen to me here.
The owners' meetings was the first time where I actually believed what they were saying about trying to renovate what they have, and I disagree with it. I don't like it, but they seemed adamant
Oh my God.
about connecting the waterfront to downtown, and they're talking about moving Route 2. Like it's a thing. It's a whole major project, and they just feel like my idea, I've said it on the show 100 times. My idea is go out to 480 and 77, build whatever you want, put it out by Topgolf there. You can have retail, mixed-use
Isn't that
housing.
bad for the city?
I mean, it's right. I mean,
take it out of the city.
It's accessible to a highway.
Yeah, but
there's more hotels you could build.
Right. It's more accessible to more people at the interchange of 480 and 77. You can build anything you want. It would be technically, I guess, Independence. It would not be in Cleveland. So, yeah, it's going to be a financial hit to the city. But if we're talking about, like, what's ideal, that's what's ideal in terms of the structure. But it sounds like they want to bring that idea to the waterfront. Now, how feasible is that? I don't know, but
You're
that's
talking
what.
about a 10, 12 year.
Well, it's a massive undertaking.
Yeah.
It's a major, and I've talked to business people in the city who say, like, okay, Sherwin-Williams bringing their headquarters to downtown is huge, but we need more of that. Cleveland needs more of that. And Jimmy's was laughing and saying, well, we're not going to bring, they're not going to take Pilot from Tennessee and move it here.
Why not?
Dan Gilbert has
that's
Dan's
crazy,
moved some
too.
offices to Quicken. He's brought some things in from Detroit. Detroit still has a massive rock headquarters there,
Right.
but there is buildings here. But they need more business, and that's really where it starts. If you want to turn a city around, you need more businesses to bring their headquarters.
Well, they've
here.
been doing a big dig in Boston for 50 years, right?
Is that over?
I mean, it was supposed. They started in the early 90s, and it's 2023, and they just finished. My thing is, to move all of that sounds nice and good. You talk about rerouting the whole highway. Dog, they can't even get 77 together. They still got construction on 77 every 5 feet. My thing is, we just talked about Taylor Swift. You're not getting that. We don't get no WrestleMania. We're not getting none of the big tractor pool stuff. We're not doing no rodeos. We can't get none of that stuff. And we use the stadium for 4 or 5 weeks out of the year. That's stupid.
The domed stadiums, the newer dome stadiums, Atlanta, Minnesota, SoFi, were funded primarily by the owners. And I don't get the impression.
Well, Jimmy, he can afford that.
I'm not saying he can't afford
Maybe
it,
that ain't
but
what he
what
wanna
you can
spend his
afford
money
and what
on.
you want to do are two different things. And that's not how they want to. And maybe I'm wrong, but the impression I got at the owners' meetings was.
What a half-ass move by
was-
Jimmy. He's a half-ass owner, and that's a half-ass move.
I mean, I'm not going to tell a man how to spend his money.
I'm gonna spend your freaking money, you rich bastard.
He said, "Listen, you said you could have left the
What's he
Bucks
gonna do
alone.
with that money? Hand it to his dopey son-in-law?
Yeah, you should have. You were like, listen, you could have stepped out of basketball. You just gave. That'd be funny. You just gave somebody $1 billion. Like how much does the dome cost? 300 for the roof?
I have no idea. $1 billion for just the roof?
Spending other people's money is always fun, right?
It would be a dome stadium would be well over $1 billion.
Oh yeah.
Well
My
over.
God.
To build what they have. I mean, Minneapolis, I haven't seen Allegiant in Vegas yet. I haven't been in that one, but I've been in Minneapolis, LA, and Atlanta. They are unbelievable structures. But in order to get that here, it would be well over $1 billion.
I mean, so do it. He's got the money. Let's go. It's great for the city. It'll be awesome.
Well,
He's not going to do
Now-
it. They're gonna half-ass it like he does everything else.
I mean, the investment in the Bucks, I think,
Yeah.
was the. I was told the numbers that are out there are not accurate. I think the numbers that are out there, I don't want to say the wrong one now, 350, 375, something like that is what was reported. I was told that is not accurate. I don't know what the actual figures were, But part of the reason I don't think they were interested in the Suns was the price tag was even higher to buy the whole thing. He just bought a share of the Bucks. So if they don't want to spend that money on the Suns, I don't think they want to spend that money on
Why
the
is he
stadium.
doing that anyway? What is the reason they're doing that?
Why not?
Diversity.
Well, then why not build it?
Because
Why not focus on your primary
because rich people buy sports franchises. Like
Why-
most normal people that want to invest in real estate.
Why
when
do-
you
why
have
doesn't
that
he
kind of
just-
money,
Why? You know what Jimmy should do? Buy a bunch of buildings and take every homeless person off the street and get them fed.
that's not happening.
How about that? How about you spend your money on that instead of being a minority owner for the Milwaukee Bucks? I know I'm talking out my ass here because he don't care about those people.
That's not
He'll
happening.
just buy a few uniforms.
you buy
and
into the
pretend he
Bucks
cares.
now for 300, whatever
Yeah.
the X figure is. 5 years from now, it'll be 10x that. Like that's
Yeah,
why.
right,
That's
that's
why
what
he's
he's
doing
doing.
it. That's why
Yeah.
it's.
So then he has
investments.
the money to pay for the.
And
But you're
look,
not going to get the return on the stadium to the extent that you would on a pro sports
and
team.
you-
It's
and-
all about dollars and
no,
cents.
that's true.
And you got to think about it. There is no incentive for him to do like. Do you see like this whole entire outfit is furnished by me, right? The Browns have been terrible forever. You
Yeah.
know how many people are out there like me that's even worse? There's no incentive to do nothing
No.
crazy over the top.
Right.
People gonna show up and we gonna talk about the Browns and Perrion Winfrey. Because that
We get to Perrion Winfrey first or the second receiver first? I forgot.
We're going to do Perrion Winfrey first, and when we get into Browns talk, as every day,
Yeah.
it's brought to us by Lincoln Electric. Lincoln Electric is now hiring for great jobs, so if you want to get into the electric welding business, go check out our friends at Lincoln Electric.
G, you cutting Perrion Winfrey? If you're the Browns right now.
Man, I just did a blog on Locked On Browns podcast. Go
Yeah.
subscribe to that, by the way. They can't wait on him. They can't, like, I don't have any expectation level for him because this is like, this is a situation where you talked about it before. When people go to the combine and be out of shape, go to the combine, fail a weed test. Like, you knew this was coming, but you didn't do it. If you're Perrion Winfrey and you watch them sign veteran after veteran, they go a different route and trying to bring in other guys on the defensive line to get it better. You guys had an opportunity to do it last year. You didn't make your mark last year. The writing's on the wall. They saying, like, look, we got to get guys in here that's ready to play. You had some issues last year with Myles Garrett, people just saying, hey, you're a little immature. He need to learn how to be a pro. And I don't know what's going on with who you put hands on or how it even went down. Sometimes I got an issue with people just being out doing stuff. At some point in time, like my mom, my dad, my family want me to come do something. Sometimes it's like, no, I ain't going to do nothing. You know what I'm doing? I ain't having no cookouts. I ain't having no family reunions. I'm not going to the corner store. I'm going to be in here watching film, lifting these weights in my house by myself because I need to get my mind together because I got an opportunity to do something. And especially when Jim Schwartz is a new coach. When you got a new coach, you got an opportunity to make yourself be known like, hey, I'm in here doing my thing. I could get a starting position. Now the new coach is looking at you like, bro, I ain't even had no conversations with you. And now you do, They can't wait on him. We'll see what they do in the offseason, but I wouldn't be surprised that he might get cut.
What about you, Jason?
I don't think he's on the team in the fall. I don't know that it happens today or tomorrow.
Right.
You got to let the legal process play out and all that. But it's certainly frustrating because the talent is there. But, we said it last year, at the end of the year, that there's maturity issues there. And he's got to grow up. He's got a lot of growing up to do. Clearly that hasn't taken place. And there's got to be a ton of frustration from the Browns end of it. They knew when they were drafting him there was a risk there. Like there was enough there in his background that they knew, and they took him anyway. And here you go. And he was a problem throughout the season. There's some things that I think happened that didn't even come out that he was involved in, and now here we are in the offseason, and now you have this again. So I don't think he's worth the frustration that he's. Listen, if you're worth it, they'll put up with it.
Right.
Like look
Deshaun Watson?
Deshaun Watson. Perrion Winfrey is not in that category. No. We know what they've done in the offseason in terms of building up the interior of the defense. He showed flashes of promise last year, but not enough to make you say he's worth all this. And plus, let's be honest, the Browns' history on violence in women is not great. They with the Kareem Hunt and the Deshaun Watson, fair or not, they have a reputation.
Yep.
And
Johnny Manziel?
Johnny Manziel.
Yeah.
But Manziel was already here.
Yeah,
they brought in Kareem. They
That's
brought
true.
in Deshaun.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I said violence against women. I want to be very careful because Deshaun, obviously, it's not necessarily violence against women, just behavior. I should
Yeah.
say behavior toward women.
Yes.
With Kareem and Deshaun and bringing these people in. And it's something, at some point, like that reputation's going to catch up to them. I think he's more trouble than he's worth, whether it's now or at the end of camp or at some point in between. I think they will probably move on from Perrion.
What do you got? You got something from Mary Kay on this?
Yeah, so Mary Kay just posted an article that McNugget sent over to me. And so an update on Winfrey. He is currently out on a $1,000 bond wearing an electronic monitoring device, and he has a court date on Tuesday. According to the reports, he was trying to force Mac home with him to leave the area. When she refused, he tried to use force. Bystanders intervened. Winfrey backed off, and now there's an emergency protection order for Mac against Winfrey, which if he prohibits from doing anything and having any contact with her whatsoever.
Okay, listen. Obviously, this guy's got issues. You know, if this is all true as we've heard it, he's a really bad guy. I decided a couple of years ago that I'd change my tune on this. I can separate the player from the person, as I decided to do with Deshaun Watson and other people on other teams. I've said it once a million times. There's crappy guys on every team. There's crappy guys in every walk of life and every business. But you're right. Is the juice worth the squeeze? Probably not with him. Honestly, if I'm the Browns, I'm calling him. I'm saying, do you want to play? Are you interested in playing for the Cleveland Browns? Are you interested in being in the NFL? If the answer is yes, I have now zero tolerance. I give him a chance to be excellent. If he's great offseason on the field, if he's great in training camp, what the hell? I'll keep him a little longer. But if there's any doubt at all, then I'm cutting his ass at the end of training camp.
I like I like what you said right there. I like call him up on the phone and say, look, man, zero tolerance.
Yeah, that's it.
If the cafeteria lady say you looked at her crazy,
That's right.
Bye. If you get a speeding ticket, peace out.
Yes.
If you miss practice, you forget to have your cleats on, you're done.
And you have to go 100% every practice. I want you to be the best player on the field every moment you're there. The second that doesn't happen, your ass is out of town. And maybe he doesn't care.
And so here's the thing about it. It's difficult, like, and think about it. We're not asking, like, this is not something we ain't saying. If tomorrow Deshaun Watson, everybody in the room right now say, if Deshaun Watson had any new allegations, what would you say? Hey, I can't do it no more, bro. If he had today new stuff, right? So Deshaun Watson is on zero. Like,
I don't know about that.
I don't agree.
No,
230 guarantee.
No, I'm talking about in terms of the league.
Maybe.
If today there was new allegations and it was like not from back then, it was like
Crocker Park.
It was 3 months ago.
Behind the
I didn't even mean that.
what's the restaurant called again? I forgot.
Cheesecake Factory.
Cheesecake Factory. You have any Cheesecake
I see
Factory
you, baby.
situation?
I see you. Have fun in those creamsicle uniforms.
Yes, that's funny. He would have a problem. They would try to put him underneath the jail. Yeah. So no, you don't have a 0 to go. And here's the thing, I don't even know if he's that good. I don't even know if he's like an impact player. I'm not doing that for a rotational piece.
No.
He's a backup on this team.
Right.
Period.
Yeah. Unless he comes in off-season and training camp and just kills it and looks like the best player we've ever seen, I'm cutting his ass. But I'll give him that chance. All right, that's it. Anything else on Perrion Winfrey?
No, that was all the updates
All right,
I
we'll
have.
see you tomorrow. I'm kidding.
Great show, guys. We'll wrap it up.
What do you got? You got to
20
read before we
minutes
get
of
to
Taylor
the best
Swift,
second
7
wide
minutes
receiver?
of Browns.
No,
and we're
so
out.
the next piece we are going to is the best wide receiver number 2, and I do have a read here.
Yeah, go with the read
for
here.
it, clearly.
Yeah.
Let me figure out where my USFL is here because the USFL is back.
Yes,
and they are sponsoring us Sunday, April 23rd. The USFL is back in
Let's
Canton.
get that up there. There it is.
Come
USFL.
celebrate the Pro Football
we
Hall of
too
Fame.
far.
Win free T-shirts and rally towels for the whole family. Great seats. Just starts at $10 a seat. So buy your tickets at USFL.com today.
USFL, baby.
Do we know if
It's
the
back.
USFL is better than XFL yet?
Don't know. I guess we'll find out. We'll find out.
McNuggets sold me 35,000 in St. Louis at an XFL game.
All right. Well, we'll see what the crowds are like in the USFL. I don't know, but we're looking forward to them being a part of the show. And we have a guest for the USFL tomorrow. Still working that out. All right. Let's talk about this. I'll be honest. I think this topic's a little soft because I don't think there's a lot of options. I mean, who can you make an argument for best number 2 wide receiver. And by the way, it's not number 2 like we're making a fantasy football list and it's the guys 13 through 24. It's the second best receiver on the particular NFL
So
team.
you saying the best 1As? That's what you're looking for.
Basically.
One name came to mind for me.
Yeah.
Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
That's
he's
the
a
first
great,
name that came to mind.
fabulous second choice.
Waddle and Higgins. It's T. Higgins and Waddle.
Is there any other argument? Who else can you make an argument for? Chris Godwin, maybe? Devontae Smith, Philadelphia?
Devontae Smith he's in
I'm
that
sure we got Cam
category.
in Canada right now saying Donovan Peoples-Jones.
Hey, listen, that DPJ boy, hey, you talk about the people's champ. DPJ can do no wrong.
No. By the way, Cam in Canada was apoplectic. Did you guys also pick Justin Herbert over Deshaun Watson yesterday?
Yes.
Yes.
Is there, honestly, Jason, you know the league better than anybody, is there a single team in the NFL that you think would take, including the Browns, would take Deshaun Watson over Justin Herbert right
No.
now?
I think you'd all take Herbert. Every one
Now,
of them.
obviously, the off the field is a big part of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's got to be factored in the
Yes.
game we were playing
Yes.
yesterday. And if this was 2 years ago with Deshaun Watson coming off another great season,
It'd be a different conversation.
it'd be a different story.
And
Now,
I do think that I love Justin Herbert. I think
Yeah.
he's fantastic. But I do have to say, like, what's he done?
well, but
What's he done?
Both of them are in that category.
Yes. Yes. They are.
Deshaun has 1 playoff win, and Herbert has 0.
Yeah.
And his team choked like a dog. last year.
So hold on.
Yeah.
This is a decent question. Now that I go in my head and I
Yeah.
think about it, I think Tyler Lockett is a good number 2 receiver behind DK Metcalf.
Okay, that's another guy.
You got Mike Williams.
All right, well, this topic's picking up. We got
You
some
got
other
Mike
options
Williams
here.
out there with the Chargers. Mike Williams.
Oh, Mike Williams, yeah.
You also there's
All right, those you could make arguments for all those guys.
you could Hollywood Brown. Is DeAndre Hopkins
your
or Hollywood
argument's
Brown?
I think DeAndre
You're
Hopkins is going to be
You're
on the
losing steam,
Cardinals.
G.
Yeah, look. Hey, I ain't say it was 10 of them. It might be 4 and a possible. Now there's a couple guys you can say that, right?
Yeah, there's some arguments here.
Pickens and Deontay Johnson.
I'll take Carl Pickens. Remember Carl Pickens?
Tennessee?
Or Houston.
Tennessee.
No,
University of Tennessee.
Bengals. But he played for the Bengals.
Yeah,
Carl
but he went to
Pickens.
University of Tennessee.
Yeah.
I was thinking about
college.
Ernest Givens. Same, it rhymed.
Oh,
It was
Ernest
rhymed,
Givens.
yeah.
All right, so who you picking? Who's your guy?
I forgot his name. Jalen Waddle.
Yeah,
1,300 yards last year is the number 2 behind. They brought in Tyreek, and his production went up. His yards went up. Jalen Waddle.
Crazy.
They have 2 number 1s. Like,
Yeah.
it's almost a cheat code because he's really a number 1.
And they fast, both of them, and they be running past people. I think it's
So if you're
very
starting
close.
a team with all the second best receivers in the NFL, you're taking Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would take T. Higgins second and Devontae Smith third.
See, I'm taking T. Higgins, and here's why.
You're a homer.
First of all,
Honk.
I mean, statistically, over the last, I'll just do the last 2 years because Higgins has been in the league 1 year longer. If you look at the last 2 years combined, Jalen Waddle has a few more yards than Higgins, but not significantly. I think it's like 100 more yards over 2 years. They have, I think, basically the same amount of touchdowns.
Okay.
They both play, obviously, with an elite number 1 wide receiver. Now, in fairness, the Bengals do have a better quarterback, significantly better. Dolphins have no running game. Bengals don't run the ball that much. But ultimately, the tiebreaker for me, because they're both great. I mean, they're both fantastic. T. Higgins is 6'4".
Yeah.
Jalen Waddle's 5'10". I just feel like T. Higgins is going to hold up better over the long term. If I'm starting a team, now Waddle's faster than T. Higgins, but Higgins is fast enough.
Yeah.
Higgins can run any route. He's got amazing hands. He is a massive body, massive. And I love having those big receivers. So ultimately, that would break the tie for me.
18.1 a catch. What is Higgins per catch?
He was like 14. Higgins missed a couple of games this year. How many games did Higgins play this year? I'm talking about how durable, but he missed a couple of games. How many games did he miss? Just
Okay,
one?
1 second.
Waddle was injured, but I don't think he missed too
Well,
many.
Higgins, that's misleading. Because there was a game.
Bills game, does that count?
Right. But how many games did he actually play?
It says 16.
But he didn't really, because there was the game against the Browns.
Browns.
He didn't
Yeah.
play. Or he played one play, I think.
Hey, they're very close. I'll say they're like
So that's 2 less games because they didn't play in that They didn't play that Bills game.
if you get either one of them, are you gonna be mad?
No.
It's like it's a clean wash.
So I
Like,
think we'd all agree those guys are the top 2.
Yes.
So who's the third choice? So you got
Devontae.
You mentioned Lockett. You mentioned Mike Williams,
Williams.
Chris Godwin. I would take Devontae Smith as the third guy because he's the youngest of those guys.
Devontae Smith is.
I would say that maybe Chris Godwin is the best of those players, but he's had a couple of injuries. I think he tore. What did he tear 2 years ago? His knee or his. Devontae. Well, that's even better numbers than I thought.
That's crazy. That's 1,200.
I would take Devontae Smith third.
That's a nice.
I mean those
95 catches. That's
tough. That's tough.
Man, those are the three best wide receiver combos, right?
And just think about it. The Eagles run the ball. That's cheating. They got
That's true.
A.J. Brown and they got Devontae Smith, and he get 100 catches, and they're a running team.
Yeah, they are. And a lot of it was Jalen Hurts.
That's cheating.
But they're a running team.
That's why when I always go back and when I go back and watch the Browns, I just sometimes we get into is it this or that? And I'm like, no, you got to be just good everywhere. Like, you have to run the ball. The quarterback has to be good. You got to have receivers. You got to have tight ends. I just think, man, that's a very close one. Mike Williams is hurt a lot. I can't go with him.
That's true. He's inconsistent, too.
He's very inconsistent. Very inconsistent.
I had him on a fantasy team a
right?
couple years
Like,
ago.
he has some games where he's like 7 for 120 and 2 touchdowns, and then the next game he'll
2
go
for 16.
Yeah. And you're like, what happened?
Did you play?
He's big, too. Like,
Yeah.
he's really big.
Yeah.
But
I don't think of any. Well,
So which pair are you taking? Are you taking A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, or Jamar Chase and T. Higgins? Factor in age, not contract, but if you had to take one of those duos.
As a pair, I would probably take the Bengals over Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. I would probably take Higgins and Jamar.
Yeah.
What-
I hate to leave out Justin Jefferson, but they don't. Who's their second receiver?
They don't really
now?
have a number 2.
they had
Thielen, but he's gone.
he fell off.
And he fell off and he left.
Jamar Chase Jamar Chase missed some time, so
He did miss a couple games last year. He missed like 4 games, I think, 4 or 5 games. He got hurt.
Tyreek. Do you have Tyreek Hill number in there?
No, but I can pull it up really quick.
Tyreek Hill. I think he had how many yards he have? 1,700. Oh,
1,700. He's off camera and off mic, so
17.
Mike
heard
said
his scream.
1,700
Yeah.
for those who can't hear him.
I couldn't see no more.
How old is Tyreek Hill?
1,700.
29, just turned 20.
he had 17 and Waddle had 14.
Yeah, it's
13,
amazing.
14.
Did he? How many touchdowns? Okay, how many catches?
With a mediocre
He had
quarterback.
119 catches.
Hey, listen, you can't go wrong. I would take
Either pairing.
I think in the end you take Chase and Higgins because the 3 duos are pretty close, and those guys are the youngest combo. But I mean, it's hard to pick against Tyreek
It's
Hill
hard,
and
man.
Waddle. He is 29. I didn't realize that. As good as he is, not too much longer before he goes off the cliff. It happens for almost every guy.
Who are we talking about, Tyreek?
Tyreek 29.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I mean, Jamar Chase is what, 24?
I would, man. I don't. I'm glad.
hard.
I'm glad you.
I think
didn't-
you also have to factor in that Tua had way less of a career this year than Burrow did. So those two hit those yardage with their quarterback being injured.
Yeah.
Well,
like
yeah,
Tua
they're-
was out of a lot of games. Like, man, that's
and their
tough.
quarterback's not as good, even when he is not injured.
That is tough.
That's fair.
I would lean. I don't know. I see Jamar Chase do some crazy stuff. I'd probably lean towards the Dolphins, but once again, I couldn't be mad because Jamar Chase is that good. He's a better player to me than Tyreek Hill. But I mean, 1,700. Good.
Yeah, I mean,
gracious.
that's a tough call.
Man, that's hard. So, yeah. No mention of DPJ and Amari Cooper, or what we doing?
No. Would you even take Amari Cooper over any of those
No.
number 2 receivers?
No.
Right?
And I like Amari Cooper.
Yeah, I'm taking Higgins, Devontae, especially if you factor in age.
Okay. So
Higgins, Devontae Smith, and Jalen Waddle, I'm taking them all over Amari Cooper.
I would take him over Tyler Lockett.
No, I'm just talking about just those 3 guys.
Okay, well, we talk about like
You said no, and then you
well,
hesitated
because
for a
I
second.
was thinking the Bengals duo and the Dolphins duo. I wasn't thinking Devontae Smith. I think it's close between
So-
Amari Cooper and Devontae Smith.
But if you factor in age, you just
if it's age,
yeah.
then
Without
it's a no-brainer.
age, I'd still take all three.
There's-
Even if I don't factor in age, I'd still take all three over Cooper.
Probably.
But it's close. I mean, he's right in that group. You know, Amari Cooper's somewhere between the 13th and 24th best wide receiver.
That's fair.
Somewhere in that group.
So what you saying? He got an elite number 2 status.
Yeah, I mean, in the you know, if you want to say, well, are there 32 number 1 wide receivers? No, there are not. I think Amari Cooper, in the grand scheme of things, is a mid-tier number 1 wide receiver. That's what I think he is.
Okay.
But so are those 3 guys,
Right.
who are number 2s on their team. But
Well,
they're really,
I think Waddle's a number 1. I think he was a number 1, and then they just went and found a better
no, I'm
number
saying
1.
he's a
and put him over
mid-tier
top.
number 1 wide receiver.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's also he's higher than Cooper. Well, I mean, Higgins and Waddle are probably somewhere between 8 and 14, 8 and 13, right?
Yeah,
Both of them.
I would put them because there's only a couple receivers everybody's a top 10 person until you put them in the top 10, until you start naming
Until you
them.
start.
And then you be like, okay,
filling it
well,
up.
Okay.
Stephon Diggs,
Well,
Cooper
and let's
Kupp.
not base it just. You don't want to base it just on last year's stats.
Yeah,
But let's think of guys we think are top 10 wide receivers.
Jefferson.
So
Jefferson.
Chase,
Chase.
Cooper Kupp, even though he
Cooper
got hurt
Kupp,
last year.
Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams.
I would say, what's the name? The other Eagles receiver.
A.J. Brown.
A.J. Brown.
DK Metcalf. That's 7. Let's add in, Tyreek Hill. I don't even think we said.
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
8. We're not doing that in order. It's just 8.
So he's just not in
Okay,
order.
so that's 8 right there. So then you still have Waddle, Hill, Devontae Smith at best 9,
Did we
10,
get
and
Jamar
11.
in those 8? You named Jamar.
Yeah, we
in
named
those
Jamar.
8.
Yes.
T. Higgins has to come at some point.
Right. Those 3 guys, those 3 number 2s, are maybe 9, 10, and 11. We're probably forgetting 1 or 2 other guys. Is DeAndre Hopkins still up there? I don't think so. I think he's just below that. Amari Cooper's just below that.
I wouldn't say anybody from the Ravens or the Steelers is in
Nobody,
that mix.
no, not yet. Not yet.
Pickens will be.
He will, though.
Who's the
Colts, no.
Let's look at the
Texans, no.
Patriots don't have anybody.
No.
Jets. Who's their best receiver?
Garrett Wilson.
but
Garrett
he's-
Wilson's
he's-
in that next group,
he's
right?
creeping.
He's in that. He's got to do it more than 1 year.
Right.
He's in that 12 to 20 group also.
Yeah.
He's moving up. Chris Olave is
CD,
in the back end of the 12 to 20,
C-
but he's not in the top 12 yet.
CD Lamb,
Oh,
Terry
CeeDee Lamb.
McLaurin, we tripped.
Yeah,
Terry McLaurin,
yeah.
CD,
Both those
CeeDee
guys.
Lamb.
I think McLaurin. I don't know that McLaurin is better than Higgins and Waddle. He's right there.
No,
They're right there in the same group. C.D. Lamb's better, though. C.D. Lamb goes top 10,
yeah.
I think. He's number
yeah.
9 in our definite top 10. And we forgetting anybody, Mike? Why are you laughing over there?
You're definitely top 10 with the funny way to say it.
Definitely. Like DK, did we say DK Metcalf?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I said him. I
Okay.
mentioned him.
And then you got
49ers. Nah, nobody top 10. Debo's really good, but he's not top 10.
Say Devontae Adams.
said Devontae.
I mean, Debo Samuel is
He's in that next
very.
group. I think he's 15 to 20. He's hurt every year. He's
plays
hurt
running
every
back.
year.
St. Brown.
I'm on Ross St. Brown, not yet. He's 15 to 25.
Devontae Adams.
I've said Devontae Adams. I said Devontae
So
Adams.
Devontae Adams, then you got Devontae Smith.
I would say Jalen Waddle and T. Higgins are 10 and 11, I think. And then
Yeah.
probably Devontae
Yeah.
Smith, Amari Cooper, Terry McLaurin right there in your top 15.
To be truthful, I would have to put. I don't even count. I don't count Kelsey as a tight end no more. He's a
Well,
receiver.
he is a tight end.
I mean, if you said, hey,
if I lined him up with the receivers, I mean, he's old.
if you lined him up with the receivers, I would
probably-
argue he would be a top 10 target if he was. If you just said, hey,
yeah,
there's Kelsey.
no
Sure.
doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. Yes. What's that?
Yeah, we got him.
I
got
mentioned
Cooper
Cooper
Kupp.
Cup. Yeah.
Yeah, we got him.
Odell doesn't get into the top 20, not anymore.
No.
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 He'll be lucky if he's in 21 to 30.
No. Well, now I guess he counts as a. If you would have asked somebody, will Odell Beckham Jr. be a number 1 receiver anymore? And guess what?
You getting paid like it.
Well, I mean,
Technically, he's a number 1 receiver now, right?
You got who's the best receiver on the Jaguars? I mean, Calvin Ridley hasn't played in 2 years.
Christian
Kirk's
Kirk.
in that. He had a good year. He's probably around 20, early 20s, late teens.
You mentioned Calvin Ridley. That's a very.
He's going to be an interesting one to see
he's
because he
very
was an
interesting.
up-and-comer, but he hasn't played in 2 years.
Yeah, very interesting.
So, are we forgetting anybody in the chat? Is the chat mentioned anybody? Give PCC a little shout-out for the chat?
So we did actually put up a poll in the chat, and whenever we talk to the chat, we talk to them through PCC.
Yeah.
Looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits? PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio, and all locations in PCC Airfoils in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up. Plus, get a full benefit package, paid time off, and signing bonus. Apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. So we asked them, out of the top 4 that we were talking about, Smith, Waddle, Higgins, and Godwin, who the chat would go to. It was undeniably Waddle, 55%. T. Higgins coming in at second with 26%. Smith coming in at 12% and 5% for Godwin. The chat is with you guys.
The chat is with me
you too.
2 days in a row. I'd like to thank the
you
Academy.
and G.
I'd like to thank my agent. I'd like to thank Steve Becker for giving me this opportunity. 2 days in a row. The chat is with me.
Hey, I'll tell you what. No, the chat is killing us on this one, though. Be More Ravens Gunny says, Debo, we miss him. Look how many people kept saying
Debo's not in the top 15.
John Baldwin, Debo. Logan
Baldwin?
Yeah, isn't he?
Oh.
This is people in the chat. But John
Debo's not a top
Doug
10.
Baldwin was a receiver.
Yeah. But
Logan,
Debo's not top 10.
Logan Anderson, Debo. Only
No.
one Zay, Debo. We definitely forgetting him.
You're
Kenny
wrong.
Miller, Debo. It sounds like I'm talking about a Friday movie. So many Debos in here.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Demond and Marcel. I don't know. DJ Moore. What is a DJ Moore?
Oh, DJ Moore. I mean, he's not top 10.
Is he a number?
Yeah, I mean, he's around, I'd say 15 to 20, probably.
And by the way,
He's in the conversation with McLaurin and Cooper and all those guys.
Scissor 429 says A.J. Brown is being disrespectful. I'll give you that. A.J. Brown should
We
be
mentioned him in the top 10.
He's in the top 10.
We have A.J. Brown in the top 10. What do you mean?
He's
in the top 10.
He's a lower top 10, though.
All right, I'm bored. Let's talk about something else.
The lower top
This is
10.
silly.
Holy shit.
What?
Jason said I got to
That's
go.
obnoxious.
No, I'm with Jason on this one. We can
we
move
gotta
on.
go.
The
The horse is dead. None of these people are Browns that we're talking about.
Debo Samuel's not top 10. Slow your roll out there, people.
Yeah.
Little out of
Hey,
control. in the chat.
G, before we move on, G, do we want to talk about memberships real quick?
Yes.
Yeah, you do that. You do that.
Why
You're
finish-
calling me obnoxious.
Why-
That's unbelievable.
why finish-
You're calling me obnoxious. I just
Yes.
got that.
Why
You're very
finish beating
obnoxious.
this dead horse?
Jesus. God in heaven. We've heard you destroy 17 people.
Steve Becker, stop it. A.J. Brown is not top 3. He's been hurt too much.
Well, if you guys want to continue to
He's really
destroy wide receivers, you can pay $199
Yeah, right.
per month for starters tier
Go get
membership.
your
You get
loyalty badges, will ya?
custom emojis, and membership-only community posts. And then for
Yeah.
Sorry, can you hear
killing
that?
me back here.
My
you hear that?
God.
You're killing me. All right,
Really?
$199 per month.
I'm obnoxious. Sorry.
You get coaches tier with all the starter perks. You get UCS overtime members and shoutouts and discount codes for merch and more. And then overtime today, Mike told me, and I also do not remember what overtime is. Mike, what's overtime?
Mike, what's overtime? We'll talk about it in
All
overtime.
right, it's tease today. We don't know what overtime's
tease.
going to be.
Oh, yeah, we got a lot
We
of
have
stuff.
an hour and 13 minutes to come up with overtime.
All right, so we'll
Yeah, we're fine.
Oh, there's
Done
his
it before.
topic. He's just not saying
What we
what it
doing?
is.
What we doing? We
A.J.
doing.
Brown top 3. I'm still shaking about that. Nah, I mean A.J.
The
Brown
overtime
top.
topic is who's more obnoxious, me or Bull?
Oh, you by far.
Oh, you're out of your mind. God.
How am I obnoxious? Because I'm honest. You're honest too. You should appreciate my
hold on.
honesty.
The true test of whether you're obnoxious or not is the fact if you are drunk. You don't know if you're truly obnoxious unless
I'm
you
a
have
good
4
drunk.
shots.
First of all, I'm never drunk. I haven't been drunk once ever in Cleveland.
That's
Not one
crazy.
time.
That's dope.
Last time I was drunk was my bachelor party.
Wow.
You know what? Dustin and I went to an Ohio State game once. I might have been borderline drunk.
Well, then you were drunk.
Yeah. If you
But
could borderline
I'm
it.
a happy drunk. I'm like even sillier and goofier.
I'm a different type.
I have a friend who's a mean drunk. I won't say who it is.
I'm not gonna say that. See, back in the day, my drunk was like if I got drunk, Like, I was the dude that made out in the club. Like, it's just like, I'm just going to make out in the club with a random.
With whoever.
Yeah, just a random. Like, I'll be holding hands with a person. They'd be like, G. Bush, bro, what are you doing? You holding hands. No, me and her together. All of the men disappeared in the bar. It'd just be only women. 140. They'd be like, you make the worst decisions in the world after 1 o'clock, G. Bush. I'm like, I know.
At 10,
those
she's a
beard
2.
goggles, huh?
At 10, she's a 2. At 2, she's a 10.
Oh, listen, I'll find something. Listen, she got. I like the shampoo she wears. They're like, why are you that close?
She
to
was
smell?
like, remember that movie with Jack Black, Shallow Hal?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's like
yeah.
you at the bar.
Yeah, listen, man.
You
look.
got like Tony Robbins snapped his fingers, and you think all these girls are gorgeous.
And so it's just to give you a heads up. Like, so Facebook started like at party schools. Like, so they had like Harvard, and OU was one of the first schools.
Harvard
know you.
Well, yeah, because they
Same
was like
conversation.
networking, and they was like,
Yeah.
hey, throw OU in there to see if these party kids would do Facebook.
Yeah.
And so it was like networking. So we just put drunk pictures of you doing dumb stuff out. So what we used to always do, Facebook was like a cross-reference. So you used to go meet a person, and back then, you got to think about it. People really didn't even have cell phones back in like 02, 03. So you used to meet a person and used to go back on Facebook and plug their name in like,
You didn't go to MySpace?
no, MySpace was like programming. No one's doing that. We used to have MySpace and Black Planet. And I was just like, we had to start thinking about it. They were like, black people only constitute 11% of the population in the United States. What do you mean it's a black planet? Like, that's not a thing. Then everybody just got on Facebook and it was over.
All right, let's talk some NBA first team, second team, third team, maybe the 12th team. You never know, and we'll see who's the biggest homer in the room. Anthony, you want to set us up here?
Yeah, so the voting is starting for all-team NBA, and we're here to ask you guys, is Donovan Mitchell a first-team All-NBA guard? And we asked you guys last night. You sent us in some picks. Do you guys want to run us through those picks? Bull, we'll start with you, and we'll go around the horn to Jason.
Start with me. All right. Well, you got a graphic here?
Well, you can. We have graphics for your players, so you
All
tell
right,
me
start
your
with
player,
my-
and
my
then
first-
we'll follow you.
Oh, so my first team, if I remember correctly, I can't even remember who. I think I was Luka and who?
Hold on, I gotta find your text.
Oh, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. That's right. Listen, I love Donovan Mitchell, but I didn't want to be a homer about this. I looked at, I had to look at the players, and I understand that Donovan Mitchell's team is better, but to me, this is an individual award. Why should Shai Gilgeous-Alexander be penalized because he doesn't have better talent around him? The numbers across the board are, including the advanced analytics, are better for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. They were, you could say, well, the Cavs ended up with a higher standing in the playoffs. Oklahoma City was supposed to be one of the worst teams in the league, and they made the play-in. I don't even know if they won or lost last night.
I think
They won.
They won.
They won.
So now
I
they're
had to
playing
check
Minnesota,
too. I went
right?
to bed early. They're playing at Minnesota now.
They'll probably beat Minnesota.
I think they
Minnesota's in
will.
shambles. They made the play, or if they win tonight, they make the playoffs. They made the play-in, and he's their best player. I mean, he's been great. Donovan Mitchell's got all-star caliber players around him. I love Donovan Mitchell, but I had to go. Luka's the best guard. There's not even a debate there. I don't know what we're talking about here. But, and honestly, if I was being a little picky about it, I can argue really that Donovan Mitchell shouldn't even be on the second team. But in the end, Steph Curry and Damian Lillard didn't play enough games, so I pushed them down. So I love Donovan Mitchell, but I put him on the second team with, I believe, De'Aaron Fox was my other pick. So that was my second team.
This
So
ain't even close, really. It's not even close. Donovan Mitchell's 7th in scoring, right?
Yeah,
But-
SGA is higher.
Listen, the little points that dude over there getting, bro, you in the 10th. They in the 10th slot. I'm not about to put nobody in 10th anything.
But it's an individual award.
Nah, man. Like, we're not about to do that. If it's individual, you got to think about it like this. Donovan Mitchell took a team in the Cavs that lost in the play-in and elevated them to the number 1 defensive team. He's on that team. And on top of that, he got them the 4th seed, first round in the playoffs, home court advantage. We haven't seen, and I stand by it. You can't point to me another player who's had a better season than Donovan Mitchell, not named LeBron James. It's not possible. And the fact of this man, Kobe Bryant,
Wait
scored.
a second, G. You're saying you mean for the Cavs?
For the Cavs.
Oh, okay. I got
so
you.
when you look at it, Kobe Bryant had 81. That's Kobe. They almost tried to make that man Kobe. They almost tried to change the logo. This dude has 70. He had 70. Then he started, think about this. He started running off 40 back to back to back. Like, I don't know how many games he had 40 this year. What, 20? 13? That's crazy. This dude, look, the dude, he transformed. And first of all, and then not first of all, but last of all, the thing that's so impressive about it is this. If you look at Darius Garland's numbers, they ain't even went nowhere. You could argue they going up. He's still averaging about 22 and 8.
Yeah.
You look at Mobley's numbers, they went up. And Donovan Mitchell not only was here only 1 year, but he's having the best year of his life.
I know, but gee, in the end, outside of their standing in the division, there's really no other argument for Donovan Mitchell over SGA. Which team had more of an increase in wins this year? Oklahoma City by a lot.
I mean,
the Cavs won 7 more games than they did last year. Oklahoma City won 14 more.
But they play in a trash Western Conference.
Well,
I mean, he's the sole reason they were a 500 team. Sole reason.
Which is why SGA is one of my first-team All-NBA guards,
Uh-huh.
and why Donovan Mitchell is my other first-team NBA guard.
See what the difference?
And
You see,
Luka Doncic is second team.
I see what you did right
I put
there.
Luka on second team because
But he's a better player than both of those guys.
But his team to make the playoffs.
But what do you do that leads to winning? It is an individual award, but you have to factor in the team concept as well. And the fact that the Cavs improved by 7. So I'm going to go against my own argument here for a second because the Cavs won 7 games more than they did last year. They also had a ton of injuries last year, and they stayed a little bit healthier this year.
But Oklahoma City won 4. Oh, you had Shea.
I have Shea.
Yeah.
So I have Shea and Donovan on my first team.
Yeah.
And I have Luka and Dame on second team. It was hard leaving Steph off. It was hard leaving De'Aaron Fox off. I know Mikey's a big De'Aaron guy.
Yeah.
If we did a third team, they would be my third team guards, would be Steph and De'Aaron. But I just went. Listen, I was at the 71-point game. It was actually the night DeMar Hamlin got hurt, which made for a weird night in the arena. I'm tweeting about this unbelievable game Donovan's having while a man's dying on the field.
Yeah, right.
But it was that. I mean, listen, I was with LeBron for 4 years. That performance I saw at Donovan was the single greatest regular season performance I've ever seen. And you have to put regular season in a different category over postseason. But what he did that night, I've never seen before. It was unbelievable. And I'm not giving it to him just because of that. But it was his best season. He did have a major influence on the Cavs. He did elevate the Cavs to the 4-seed home court advantage, all that. And the Mavericks just – now I also think – and I think I said it on the show – I don't know what Dallas was thinking bringing Kyrie in. And I think that had a lot to do with the downfall.
Like Kyrie – only LeBron can overcome the Kyrie jinx. He's the only player capable.
Which is why Kyrie's going to LA next year.
Is a cancer on a team.
He's toxic.
He's completely toxic. He's the most toxic player in the NBA probably. And only LeBron can overcome that. In fact, he thrived, and Kyrie played his best basketball with LeBron.
Yeah.
Nobody, not even Luka, certainly can overcome the Kyrie jinx.
Luka is a wonderful player. He's fantastic. I would take him on. I'd take him over Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
Frankly. But in terms of the impact on your team and when you look at the totality of everything, I don't think I'm being a homer. I mean, I've been as hard on the Cavs as anyone in town. I don't think I'm being a homer. I think Evan Mobley's Defensive Player of the Year, and I think Donovan Mitchell is first-team All-NBA.
Well, interesting. We had the same 3 players between us. We just picked the
Different
3
orders.
different combos.
Yeah.
I obviously had Donovan on my second team.
And there's so many people scoring 30 now. It's difficult to kind of just diminish what other people is doing around the league. I just feel like when we look back at this and we look at like LeBron and Kyrie and some of the great teams in the 80s with the Cavs, I think we'll get an opportunity to see how we feel about it. Because if Donovan plays well in the playoffs,
that's what it's all about.
we're going to go back and then look at the regular season and say, wow.
Yeah.
That he was really doing
meanwhile, the opposite. If they lose to the Knicks,
they'll diminish
I don't
it.
care about what Donovan did anymore.
No,
They'll
that's fair.
diminish it. Like,
I don't care.
you know.
Ultimately, the Cavs won 13 more games than the Mavericks. That counts for something in my book when it
That's
comes
crazy.
To, when it comes to voting.
That you know, and think about it. I mean, the Lakers, they got AD and LeBron. Like, it's something to be said for coming up and being a 4th seed in the East when you got the 3 favorites in the East. Like, you got Dallas, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, and Boston. Those guys, And they got great players on each of those teams. And for
Right.
the Cavs to be there and to sustain throughout and then to be at a position where it was no doubt. I was thinking they was going to take a step back.
I said when the season started, I thought the Cavs were the third best team in the East. I still think they're the third best. I'd take them over Philly. Like I
Well,
would.
because we already know James Harden never comes through in the playoffs.
Yeah, I would take
right?
the Cavs over Philly in terms of I think Milwaukee and Boston are a class above everybody else.
Isn't it funny? None of us even mentioned James Harden.
Oh, I'm really down on Harden. I've
Yeah,
said
that's-
That's the thing. But it's everybody's down on Harden because he's been a choker in the playoffs.
yeah. Oh, for sure.
And
it's hard to watch. I mean, he put some big numbers, but I don't like his game.
No.
The dribble, I just hate it. It's the word, the dribble, hesitate, dribble, throw my arms through your arms.
he's
foul.
hard to watch.
It's just, that ain't
painful.
But credit to the Cavs. I mean, we talked all year about what a meat grinder the East was going to be. There was going to be a team that disappointed. The Hawks were that team. The Nets ultimately were that team. You knew the Nets could implode at any moment, and they did. And the Hawks were the one team that really didn't meet expectations, given they had a big offseason move too. And they ended up having to make a coaching change, and the whole organization has just been under pressure really since the end of last season. But the Cavs maintained, and they met the expectations were elevated when Donovan got here, and they met them.
How big of an upset would it be if the Cavs, and we getting ahead of ourselves here, we understand they could take an L to the Knicks. So that's
100%.
That's
for
full
sure.
Full disclosure.
This is going to be the best first round matchup
Yes.
in the playoffs, I think.
How big of an upset would it be if the Cavs could beat the Milwaukee Bucks?
Oh my God.
Stunning.
It.
It'd be the biggest upset of the playoffs.
I,
Nobody was going to give them a chance.
I'm saying in like
Nobody.
20, I'm saying in 10 years, like 20 years, like
I'll tell you this. Budenholzer probably gets fired
if the Cavs
if
win
they
that
lose the
next
Cavs.
Even though they just won a championship
I
2
think
years ago?
But it's about what's coming. And they have a lot of decisions to make. They have to keep Giannis happy. They have contract extensions coming to these guys. We've talked about it before. It's part of the reason the Haslams are going there is to foot the bill for something. Maybe that's a knee-jerk. Maybe that's a Duke a knee-jerk thing to say.
Look,
it will be discussed if changes need to be made.
because I'm looking at it. See, to me, if we were looking at it from a Boston standpoint, I actually think the Boston Celtics are not scary.
I think they're winning the championship. I think they're terrifying.
I'm more scared of Milwaukee because I just don't. I've seen Jaylen Brown not play. I've seen him be okay, but I ain't never seen Giannis like. I just think that they're just more.
Yeah, but you said Jaylen Brown, but they still got Jason Tatum.
Tatum would get his. But if you ask me, would I be more scared of Milwaukee or Boston? I think you have.
But are you basing that just based on how they played against them in the regular season?
No, I'm
In
basing.
fairness, though, Jason, between the two, I do think the Celtics are a better matchup only because the Cavs seem to really struggle with the elite big guys.
There's nothing we
And the
can
Celtics
do.
don't have a player like that.
If
I don't think they're going to beat either team,
Right.
but if I had to choose, I'd give them a slightly better chance to beat.
I just think
Boston
if
and
you look
Milwaukee.
at
I don't
them,
know.
I'm like, okay, well, can Jared Allen play ball with Horford? Sure. Could Evan Mobley, he play his game? Yeah, but when you look at those guys versus like an Embiid or versus a Giannis, it just seems like he just walks through them. Like, move out the way, I'm going to score.
I mean, Giannis is going to be the best player in any series in the East. I'd take him over Joel Embiid. Giannis is the best player on the floor. But beyond that, I like Boston's depth. I like their wings. I like their ability to switch and the way they defend and their multiple scoring options. I think Boston should have won the championship last year. I think they will win it this year.
Cavs, by the way, it's probably the lowest, but they're still minus 200 to beat the Knicks.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a decent favorite.
Yeah.
The Cavs should win this series, but it's not a massive upset if the Knicks win.
Cavs are I think the Cavs have the more talented roster. I don't think it's close.
Yeah.
But it's not just about talent in the playoffs. Talent only gets you
Right.
so far. It's
The
experience.
Knicks have the
it's
coaching edge.
They do. Right now they do.
Right. Now, they don't have a lot of neither team has a lot of playoff experience in terms of the players.
But what we do have is we do have a read, and then we can get back to it.
Yeah, I just want to chime in real quick, guys, and remind everybody that your 12 o'clock lunch hour of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is brought to you by Colleague Racing, the official NASCAR team of Northeast Ohio.
Every time I see Anthony in like one of his heavy metal T-shirts, which he wears often, can we see that? Anthony's T-shirt. What does that say?
This is Ice 9 Kills.
That's a heavy metal band, right?
Yeah, they're
like, I
not
feel like I've gone back in time because when I was a teenager in the 80s, like wasn't that the heyday of heavy metal, like the 80s?
That was hair metal, stuff like that. Yeah.
Right? And like I feel like half the kids in my school would be wearing like shirts like that.
Yeah.
And I never see anybody wear them
Well, look,
anymore. You are breaking the mold. You're going to old school. Going back in
Band
time.
T-shirts are really the only thing I own, but
That's it. All right.
Hey, by the way, you can't Anthony definitely looks like he's in a mosh pit somewhere.
Yes,
and,
that's true.
oh yeah.
That underbelly culture of hair bands and metal band. By the way, you can't play none of that crap no more. You can't play none of that. Listen, if you ever notice this, if you at a party and there's mixed people around, you can't play rock, you can't play country,
What can you play?
hip hop. That's it.
Why?
Gee, I'm gonna take you to a Cleveland emo night one of these nights. It's a very mixed crowd there. I'll show you.
Why can you only play rap in a mixed crowd?
If ain't nobody trying to you can't. Have you ever heard easy listening metal? Ain't no easy
What is easy listening rap?
Yeah, Will Smith.
Oh yeah, they play
Parents
Chameleonaire.
Getting
just
jiggy
don't
with it?
understand.
Getting jiggy with it. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Getting jiggy with it.
Look,
Ba-da-da-da-da-da.
it's so easy listening. They make him do this, move this. What happened to your arms?
Let me do it. Should I do a little white man overbite for you?
Oh, oh my God, oh my God. Yo, listen, that's
painful.
That's why I try not to go to weddings where I'm the only black person there. I don't like it, but I got a lot of black colleagues, white colleagues, so I gotta go. And then you just listening to Return of the Mac.
Oh my God.
California Love. Stop,
Jump around. Jump around. Jump up and get down.
And then they look at you. Aren't we having so much fun? No, we're not. Your bridesmaids are huge. I don't want to hook up with them, and you have only beer. You don't have only beer.
By the way,
I can't get loose to that.
That reminds me of the what do you call it? The bridesmaids. So I was at a wedding years ago. All right, my shout out to my friend Ed. It was his wedding. This was in New Jersey, probably 20 years ago, give or take. And so you know how they throw the bride throws the bouquet, and then one of the bridesmaids or somebody catches it.
Yeah.
And then they throw the
garter. Yeah.
and then the guy who catches it gets to put it on the leg of the girl who caught the flowers.
Yeah.
So,
I ain't heard that part.
You don't know that?
No, we don't got that where I come from.
No.
I wish
that
I
a white
went to
person thing?
That might be a white person.
I wish I could have did
Put
like,
that.
what was
You would have
at?
loved that.
Yeah.
You would love that. Put this in the chat. Is that a white person thing only? Is that a white person thing?
Yeah.
So this
Ask
happens.
him.
So I'm at my friend's Ed's wedding, and his sister-in-law catches the bouquet. Okay. Now his sister-in-law was like absurdly smoking hot. Like it was ridiculous how hot this girl was.
Oh, like it's so hot that it's uncomfortable.
It was uncomfortable.
to talk around. Uncomfortable hot is kind of messed up. I don't like that.
Like I just basically wanted to drool when I was around her. That was it. It was completely inappropriate. Okay, so this girl is like ridiculously hot. At the time, I was probably like 30,
So
whatever. She was like 23. Like, ridiculous. It was ridiculous. So
1 versus 8.
So they go to throw the garter, and I see the other guys, and I'm like, this is a shady looking bunch here. And I just turned to the group of guys and I said, that's my garter. And a couple of guys started laughing like I was joking around. And I said, no, that's my garter. I am getting, okay, they threw it up. I'm throwing elbows. I got the freaking garter, baby.
Hey, so hold on. I want film work in this. So what did so the girl, what did she do? She got.
So what happens is,
So how high above the knee did you go?
You start sliding up the garter, like everybody's watching,
Yep.
and you keep going until she stops you.
You go above the knee.
Now some guys, as we all know, are wimps, and they just stop at a certain point. I am not one of those people.
Did you use your teeth?
I don't think so. I probably should have. That was a failure on my part. I don't think I did. No, I didn't. I'm pretty sure I didn't. But I was not going to stop until she told me to. Like I'm not, you know.
Suddenly the police show up. Assault charges.
Jason, I was shooting my shot, baby. I was shooting my shot. I went up that leg as far as I could. Eventually, she stopped me.
Now, this is all, listen, apparently there was Me Too going on during all of these weddings, too.
This was completely legal and appropriate. I did nothing. I did nothing. She stopped me, and I stopped. Okay?
Where did she stop you? At the knee?
No, I got the thigh.
Mid-thigh?
I got mid-thigh.
Oh, this is
So when I get to mid-thigh, I'm thinking,
this is troubling.
I conned myself into believing that I had a chance with this woman.
Oh, listen. Please don't act like, please don't say you had a conversation with her.
No shot. I did not, nothing. She's a very nice girl. She's married now. All the best to her. But I got nowhere.
Hey, this is...
I was shot down. But in that moment, I was a star. For 2 minutes.
Things you can't do because the world changed. That segment
No,
was brought
I don't
to you
agree
by-
with that.
Anthony has a
You can
brown
still do
bag
that.
and is having
I
a
did
panic
nothing.
attack back there.
She stopped me and I stopped. Nothing inappropriate.
There we go.
That's part of the deal.
It is what it is today.
Cavs.
How about showing up? No, come on now.
Cavs
How about showing up
playoffs.
a wedding and now G. Bush is trying to get the garter?
G. Bush is getting the garter.
That's right.
Well, I didn't
So
know.
now you got to start going to some more white people.
I
weddings.
didn't know this was going on at white weddings. I didn't know there was a permission slip.
G, you want to be my +1 to the wedding I'm going to at the end of the month?
I got to see.
Want to fly to North Carolina with me?
Listen, first of all, that was old G. Bush.
He's married.
I got a whole.
He's a married man.
I got a
Crying
whole
out loud.
max deal. Like I got a max deal, and I got to show up to everything. That max deal now.
Oh, my
Well,
God.
while we're on the topic,
Yeah.
you said 30 and 23, and we're talking weddings, made me think.
Yeah.
The funniest SNL skit I have ever seen in my life
Yeah.
is Meet Your Future Wife. Have you guys seen that? You got to pull it up. It is
It's like what
hysterical.
cast? Like years ago?
It's Tina Fey years.
Oh, okay.
And like these guys show up with their wives, and it's their current wives, and it's
Right.
Meet Your Future Wife,
Oh.
and she's like in the 5th grade.
Yo,
It is hilarious.
That's creepy but funny.
That starter wife. That is a starter wife skit and a half. That is really
But
real
the
though.
kicker was like the one guy, and the girl she comes out and she's in college.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, well, that's not that bad. They said, no, she's pregnant with your future. It is so funny. You've got to go.
my
It's
God.
fantastic.
Yeah.
I never
Probably the
watch that on
funniest.
live anymore.
You
It's
guys
probably
watch
the
it?
funniest
I
SNL
gotta
skit
check
I've
that
seen
out.
in 20 years.
You used to watch it?
No.
I
But
haven't watched
I
it in
see like
years.
the little clips
ask
on
Yeah,
social.
there's occasionally. Generally, I don't find it funny anymore. Occasionally, there's something
That
funny.
was hilarious.
Yeah, she was real.
Who would have known we would do overtime at 12:10?
By the way, what are we
It's just
really
like
all
I
I
excited
wasn't
about
predicting
here?
it today, but
Well, listen, we'll get to Kevin Love and all the mental health stuff, and that'll be really a cheery topic to pick everybody up. So, let's laugh here for a minute.
I think the chat might like it. I don't know. Let's check in with them.
the
chat
chat is vibing with the wedding talk, though. They are.
Exactly.
The
Does
wedding
the chat
talk-
think I did anything wrong? Does the chat think that's a white people thing only?
I haven't
not
been in no
happening at
wedding
black
like
weddings?
this. Brothers back me up. Brothers back me up. There is no first of all,
There's no garter catch and bouquet
we
catch.
catch that joint, but it ain't like ain't no physicality after that. Ain't no let's get this and put this back on like that.
It's good luck for the new couple.
That's
every inch above the knee is good luck or something. some
I
crap
like that.
I've been taught to
I
look
gave
at
them lots of good luck.
I've been taught to look at the ground when women talk now, but I don't even be that's a date. That's a physical seriously. Look, see, here's the thing. What happens if she don't want to stop you? What happens, boo? What happens if she don't put the roadblock on?
We'll never know. It was 20-something years ago.
Hey, if I've ever done, I'll put the disclaimer. If I've done anything crazy, if you've known me in other past, I apologize in advance for what I've done because I don't know. Half of this stuff.
I've never done anything inappropriate.
In college,
At least not with a girl.
In college, everything was inappropriate, all of it. And we're trying to be better people.
I caught the garter one time, and it was an
Yeah.
adult woman, and I was a kid, so we had to do like I gave her a kiss on the cheek.
Like a
or
kid,
something.
how old?
Like 10.
Oh, God.
And they were like, yeah, I ruined everything. I caught it.
That had to be awkward.
There was none of that going on. It was,
Two more years, you got a whole nother different perspective.
Well, Jason might have had knowing him, he might have had that perspective again, but she wasn't going to have that perspective.
that was not
You shouldn't
happening.
have told your aunt to catch that garter.
I think I just dislocated my shoulder sitting here. I can't even lift my arm.
Hey, look,
Ow! Ow!
God don't like
the hell I
ugly.
did?
Just like, shut up.
Yeah, that's enough of
Oh
that.
my
Yeah.
God! All right, Anthony, what do you got for us?
I just want to remind you guys that
Yes,
the 12 o'clock
remind us.
hour of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show / Overtime Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is brought to you by the Colleague Racing Team, NASCAR, your official NASCAR team of Northeast Ohio. So, guys, today we're
Beautiful
going
read
to
there,
talk
Anthony.
about Giannis and his. I totally missed what you said.
Nothing. Go
We're
ahead.
going to talk about Giannis and his mental struggles through the bubble and how he talked to Kevin Love and kind of worked it together. And honestly, it's just a really endearing story from Kevin Love. Steve, if you want to take the tag board, this is the first quote that ESPN posted yesterday. In 2020, I was ready to walk away from the game. I had that conversation, yes, with the front office. And then he continued to go on and said, everybody, no matter where I am, everybody was watching me. He was referring to the bubble because there was really nothing else going on. I don't think I have the time to turn it off, be myself, kind of just be me. And he admitted that he talked to Kevin Love. I talked to Kevin Love and told him how he inspired me to open up and helped me to be a kind of a better version of myself. And he was literally tearing up when I was telling him that. He never imagined he would be the one to help me figure this out and cope with all this.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when it comes to sports and really the military also, this is a major issue that guys are afraid to admit when they're hurting. Mental health is a real problem. I mean, dealing with mental health issues is a real problem, and a lot of times guys in general don't want to acknowledge that there's something wrong, that you're depressed, that you have anxiety, obviously PTSD for people that have been in the military. This is a huge problem. And players get depressed. They have problems. Kevin Love, as much as I've ripped him for at times his play and said he's not a Hall of Fame or whatever, I couldn't have more respect for the guy for what he did. I mean, what he did putting himself out there like that really opened the door for guys in all these sports to say, hey, I got a problem too. We've seen 2 players in baseball right now that are on the injured list because they can't handle anxiety right now. So, and I think there's less stigma to it because of Kevin Love.
And he had no idea at the time
Yeah.
that it was going to turn into this. I had a conversation with him. We were in San Antonio. We're in San Antonio. It was a shoot around in the morning on the road. And I said, like, you realize you're like the face for this now. You're going to be the face for this. He said, no. And I'm like, no, I'm telling you, like, this is going to be a thing. Like, you're really putting yourself out there. And I don't think, and we talked about it later on, and I don't think he grasped the enormity of it in the moment. I think it's terrific. I think it's something at times he wasn't expecting to have to be the flag bearer for the mental health revelation, I guess is the best way to put it. But it's something he's embraced and grasped. And even, and we talked about it, like our parents' generation, and I'm obviously older than he is, you don't ever talk about it. Like because he said, my dad don't ever talk about Stan Love, who played in the NBA. He's like, you don't ever talk about this stuff. And even, I'm 46, even my generation, our generation, we're the same age. I don't think we really know how to deal with it and getting better.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think it's the younger generation that is really sort of embracing it. Millennials, Gen Zs, I make fun of them for a lot of things.
Yeah.
But in this instance, I think they're right in terms of taking care of mental health.
Oh, absolutely.
And just this pressure and scrutiny that players are under today because of social media that guys, our age, our generation that we grew up watching never had to deal with before.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Gee, I can't imagine being a kid. Like, think about being a kid right now. Like, if you got picked on in school, and I think schools generally do a better job of trying to not allow kids to get picked on as best they can. I think they do a better job of that than when we were kids. But, like, at least in school, like when we were kids, if you got picked on, if a kid got picked on, it happened in school, it was bad. But now...
You got home and you got away from it.
Yeah, now, like...
It's
kids that get
incessant.
picked on social media,
Yeah.
it's freaking horrible. I can't imagine having to deal with that stuff.
We've basically done we've done the last 2 generations a disservice because what we've essentially done is, yes, we've raised awareness about mental health issues. My dad happened to work for the mental health department in Summit County and Stark County for years, right? He used to be a case manager. What he used to do is he used to have a place where he would have a caseload and he would help people make sure that they stayed on their medications. He would take visits with them if they didn't have anybody in their area Maybe they needed to find transportation to go to different places, the grocery store. Just being there to make sure that the police, interactions with the police, hey, if a police would show up at an apartment, they would say, hey, call the case manager so that they can, have a liaison between them and law enforcement. So in this country, we've raised awareness, but at the same time, we've not done what we were supposed to do. Back in 1980, Jimmy Carter put in play the Mental Health Systems Act of 1980. And it was legislation signed by President Carter that provided grants to community health centers, right? So there was billions of dollars put into that system. A couple years later, Reagan got in office and he dismantled most of the program. And as of today, we continue to dismantle most of the program. If you look at it, Ohio was one of Ohio was one of the major states that cut the most funding to mental health in the United States.
What a disgrace.
So it's the it's the 15th largest budget cut, and it hit the 8th largest cut in dollars of all 50 states during the fiscal 2009 to 2011 year. Now, if people don't know, in 2009 to 2011, everywhere in our country, we received massive cuts to the mental health system, right? Ohio, the 7th largest state, cut its general fund for mental health budget by $57.7 million, or 11.3% of its total budget. That brought funding down for almost $200 million. This happened in all different places. So yes, it's important for our athletes to talk about mental health. It's important for us to talk about mental health when it comes to school shootings and people having rifles and things like that. But at some point in time, our generation has to look in the mirror and say, we have to hold our elected officials responsible in saying, yes, it's cool for you to say we need to get our head around, we need to wrap our minds around, we need to bring awareness. Awareness time is over. We need the funding back. Where are the programs? Where are the budgets? Where are the things that you need to do in your community to help mental health, not just talk about mental health as it's a talking point? We've seen it all over the place. And yes, mental health is a thing that we can all sympathize with, but unless we are going to get serious about where our tax dollars are going, we will continue to have not only people in high schools, young kids, poor people, rich people. As you see, mental health affects the whole spectrum. So we need to be serious about where our dollars are going so that we can wrap our head around some of this stuff if we really serious about mental health.
You're right. We're not serious about it. Our state is going to do nothing to fix that problem. So it's a lost cause, unfortunately. But but I do think Kevin, if nothing else, Kevin Love talking about this has taken away a lot of the stigma, because a lot of guys that are macho guys, athletes and military, police, whatever, firefighters, there was a stigma, and I think Kevin Love has made it less stigmatized. I mean, probably in some areas it remains.
DeMar DeRozan had a lot to do with it, too.
Yeah, too. That's true.
Yeah, he was one of those guys.
But, I mean, get back to the point that Giannis was ready to walk away. In 2020,
Yeah, that's wild.
top of the game, top of the world. Now, obviously, there was a lot going on in 2020.
Yeah.
A lot of people
Sure.
dealt with in their own ways. But to hear him say he couldn't take it and wanted to walk away from the game, you're talking about someone at the top of his craft,
Right.
at the top of the
That would have
sport.
been a shame.
Unbelievable.
Have you met Giannis at all?
Yeah, yeah.
Is he as likable as he
Yes.
seems?
Yes.
Like, have
It's
you ever
legit.
met a superstar this nice?
I don't know. He's up there. And I'm certainly not close with him by any means.
Sure, no,
I've
I
had
know.
interactions with him.
But do you know anybody that's close with him? I'd love to know from these Bucks beat reporters.
Our Bucks writer's tight with him, I think.
Yeah, I'd like to know, because he seems like the nicest guy. I think I told the story, a friend of mine, his son, and my son is friends with his son, was in Greece this summer. Did I tell this story? I can't remember. I did? I
remember it.
Mike's saying maybe, I don't know. Maybe. I'll tell it again for those who didn't hear it. My son, my friend Mike, shout out to Mike. He's Greek, and he took his family to Greece. They went to Greece for 6 weeks over the summer. They have 2 kids, and my son is good friends with one of his sons. And one of his sons is a big Giannis fan and was wearing a Giannis jersey in Greece. And all of a sudden, the kid gets a tap on the shoulder.
I remember you saying that, yep.
And he's like, and it was Giannis. He's like, you're wearing my jersey. Chatted with them, signed on. He went over to them.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they tracked him down
Right.
and he was like, whatever.
Right.
Like Giannis walked up to this kid and said, hey,
That's
you're wearing
cool.
my jersey.
That's
and he
really cool.
could not have been nicer.
Yeah.
On the opposite end of the spectrum, as we
Yeah.
talk about mental health, so there are people who, need that outlet. There are people that need to talk to somebody and things like that.
Yeah.
But you know what I marvel at though? Because most of us are in a spectrum. Most of us are in the middle area where, hey, we have our ups, we have our downs. Some days are better than others. Some people need a little more time to talk through and work through the feelings, right? And so we talk about Giannis and Kevin Love. But what I take a look at is the guys that are on the other end of the spectrum, like the Kobe's, like the LeBrons. Like, it's almost like the level of singular focus that they can bring in, even though, like Giannis is saying, I can't go nowhere. They're looking at me. They're like, I can't be myself. Like, think about how tough that is, like at the highest levels in that food chain where LeBron will say, oh, I'm locked in. All I got to do is this. Kobe will be like, listen, I don't go to Allen Iverson would tell him he would come in and they go out to eat. He said, listen, I'm about to go to the gym. He go to the eat. They go, that level of focus, I don't even know if that's healthy.
I mean, they have bad days too.
Yeah.
I could tell you LeBron had a lot of bad days. And, they just probably don't talk about it, which is fine. Just because you don't talk about it doesn't mean you're not handling it well. You know what I mean? Some people handle it in their own
Some
in
people
their
are
own
public
ways.
about it, some people are not.
Yeah, but I mean, they're all human at the end of the day. But the one thing you said that struck me about like being out in public and people, I remember going back to Kevin saying like he'd be at dinner and would have to tell himself like, this is before he really came out with some of the struggles about you're not doing anything wrong, like because people would just stare at him or they'd want to come up and it made him uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, you have to take a breath and say, you're okay, you're not doing anything wrong, like you're just eating dinner, like it's okay. And just that process of just the uncomfortability that brings sometimes to always be in the spotlight. I would talk to LeBron about it. We were in the locker room and I said, can you ever just go to a movie? Just take your kids to a movie and go be normal. He goes, no.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like we was talking about it, like different things. Like I said, I was just the dumbest take I've ever had. I told my brother, shout out to my brother Bryson. He says, yeah, man, Janet Jackson, that's crazy. I'm like, man, somebody was like, yeah, she can't go do that. I'm like, what you mean? Janet Jackson can go through the mall, and he was like, no, she can't. No. And I was like, I thought about it, and I'm like, you're right. Like LeBron, he has to live in a zoo. Like he's not from Cleveland, but he couldn't just go to the grocery store.
And here's the thing, though. There's no sympathy for that because everybody would say, well, I'd give up that
You're right.
to
For the
have
money.
his life.
For the money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the money in his life.
I do think there are pockets in and around Akron where he can like
Yeah.
run to the store and he's okay, like he's more accepted and it's okay. And I should correct because I think he did take his kids to the movie and I said like, can you do that? He's like, no. He said I do it anyway, but I can't. Like
Well, he could. He could rent out the movie theater.
Does he have security?
Yeah.
Does he have like security with him all the time?
All the time.
Does his even a security detail on his kids and wife and everything like that?
I would imagine so. I don't know
You think that with the security with his kids at school? I mean, he goes to
not
work.
at school, probably.
Right, yeah.
But I'm sure there are times where security is with
yeah.
them. I don't want to speak on. I'm not 100%.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
with him,
LeBron's pretty unique. There
And
are plenty. There are athletes that can go out in the public.
while we're sort of on that topic,
Yeah.
when LeBron came back, the Cavs had to really beef up their security staff, right? Like they
Yeah.
brought in a lot more.
Yeah.
And they really revamped the whole thing. And they brought in some former Secret Service agents. And Kyrie, they were on the road, and somebody was driving by and called Kyrie over to the car, like, Kyrie! And Kyrie walked over. And remember, Kyrie was still a young guy when LeBron came back. And the security, like, grabbed him and said, don't ever do that again. Don't ever just approach a car in the middle of the road.
How did he handle that?
You don't know where it's going to end. I think Kyrie said okay.
And I think Kyrie he probably has a nice security detail on him
Now
as well.
times have changed.
Yeah,
Basketball players have it the toughest because of their size. It's, I mean, I guess if you're a little guard, maybe not, but But like a guy like LeBron, there's no way he's not going to get recognized.
You can't hide.
You know, even Mike Trout can go out.
Yes. Trout can go out and hide.
He can go out.
Hat and sunglasses, you're good. LeBron goes out.
LeBron can't go
Although
anywhere.
there are those commercials he's done for Blaze Pizza, where like some people don't know who he is. He's Ron. He's Ron with Blaze Pizza.
I've never seen those.
Oh, you got to look him up.
You don't think it's just fake?
No, I think some of it's real. It's like some girls that don't pay attention to sports and don't know who he is. But they're pretty funny.
Jason could tell you, I think part of the reason LeBron went to LA was because in LA, there are massive amounts of people who are already rich. They don't want anything from you. Their kids think that they're the coolest thing in the world. Like if you go to kid with LeBron's kids, they're like, well, my dad's an actor. Well, my dad owns this.
Yeah.
Like it's not as crazy to be like, oh, when you see Magic and then you see Kobe and you see stars all the time, it's like you can sort of live a regular life, a little bit, but not an actor. Stop.
You know, honestly, maybe you guys think I'm crazy. I thought for a second, like, who is the athlete in Cleveland, of the current Cleveland athletes? And don't answer it just yet because I want to tell you what I thought.
Okay.
And you might think I'm nuts, but I thought, like, who would stand out the most? And obviously the most famous guy is probably Deshaun Watson. But he doesn't really, like, stand out looks-wise. He's not that big.
Right.
I feel like Jared Allen would be the most recognizable guy. He's got the big afro. He's extremely tall. Like, I feel like you can't, if you know, and in Cleveland, I would guarantee Cleveland has the highest percentage of people that at least have some interest in sports than almost, if not any other city in America. Percentage of people, obviously not total people. I bet Jared Allen would get recognized even more than Deshaun Watson. Am I crazy?
I think it'd be Miles. I think it'd be Myles Garrett.
Fair.
Because
That's fair.
of how, and obviously there's more Browns fans than
Yes.
Cavs fans. Now, the difference with football is a lot of times they got helmets on, so you don't really see their face.
Miles would,
But
Miles
Miles
is huge.
Miles doesn't.
I don't think Watson would get recognized all the time.
Probably not.
It depends where he was.
He could do the hat and sunglasses
Right,
and get away with it.
because he don't look like he looks like an athlete, but he doesn't look his physical.
He doesn't look like
stature
LeBron and Jared Allen and Myles
Right.
Garrett and some of
Right.
these other guys.
Right.
Listen, that's a. I don't.
Jose Ramirez,
Oh.
If you ask,
99%.
Stephen Kwan.
Is there any guardian?
Stephen Kwan could be sitting next to you at a bookstore, and
the owner could
drinking
be,
a coffee. You wouldn't know
you
it.
could be on the flight with the owner, the general manager. None of you wouldn't. Donovan Mitchell is recognizable, but
he's not that big either.
I mean, but they're
I don't know.
I'm going like the hat and sunglasses. Who can put on hat and sunglasses and get to the store?
Donovan's not a thick guy.
Like mobbed.
What, Mike?
Donovan Mitchell's huge.
Is he?
He's thick. Yeah, he's not tall, but he's right.
I will
He's
say
thick.
this is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
If he played well in the first series, everybody will know. Like
do you
that's
think,
the thing about Cleveland.
Do the Cavs players go I know they go
I
out.
mean, Jared Allen walked through the freaking concourse during All-Star Weekend last year. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Well, this is not a good idea. Like, he just like,
wait a second.
security
Why?
with him.
You think somebody's gonna is somebody gonna do something to him?
Nah, he got
You can't take players out the main entrance of the arena. Like, it's just,
Just that they're gonna get
it's
mobbed?
just going to be a mob. And
he has different energy. So like I learned this, right? Like, so you can either be a person that got decent energy. That's why the Ja Morant thing was so crazy to me. Like, because he was moving, how he was moving like he's a street dude. Like, you're a rapper. Like, you do know rappers die every week. Like, all of them. Even the most popular ones, they die. So it's the way you move in. Like, you invite certain energy. Like, you talk about you beating kids up, you got guns and stuff. And hopefully that's behind you. But when you look at Jared Allen, he said, I dress corny. I got an afro. I'm a nice dude.
He's in that Giannis category. Obviously not
super nice guys.
Yes.
Ain't nobody messing with him. Ain't nobody gonna mess with him.
He is who he is.
He's not going.
And he's not changing.
I mean, I've told this story. Deli once cut me off to get a parking spot to walk into go to that
Deli
juice.
got you?
He got me, and he went because he had to go to that juice place right by the radio station.
Yeah, I've gone there a few
Got you,
times.
dude.
And we had him on.
Apologize?
No, he didn't even see me. I was actually making a U-turn. I was making a U-turn to get into the spot. And
Yeah,
he
he zipped right in.
I don't even think he saw me. But it was funny because we had him on. We interviewed him like a couple days later, and I mentioned the story. And he's like, yeah, with his accent, I can't do his accent.
Yeah.
But he was talking about, I had to get my juice or whatever. But
my mom loved Deli.
He could, I know. I mean, we all know a lot of the Browns players. They're out in the house.
Yeah.
They're at the clubs all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Especially the guys in those guys in the secondary. They don't stand out.
Yeah.
I used to see Jordan Clarkson all the time. Like I'm like, man, he be at these random like Whole Food stores, like with some sweats on.
Yeah.
Now the only thing, like,
I mean,
at that time, nobody was paying attention to the Cavs. They had like Andre Drummond. I'm like, ain't nobody going down there. It was like, but some of the top flight dudes is different with basketball players.
Yeah.
Basketball dudes, like, they got name brand, like you can look.
They're the most recognizable.
Unless it's somebody like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning.
The only baseball player that probably can't walk around is Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
He ain't walking. You can't. He just can't be randomly because he stands out.
That's about it. Because
Aaron Judge is the one guy. Because Aaron Judge looks like Miles Garrett size wise.
He's 6'8", I think.
He's crazy.
I mean, he's got to be like 280. He looks like a defensive lineman.
Kind of along those lines, when we had All-Star Weekend here for baseball a couple years ago, it was alarming. The media, like, and I get like the international press is far more involved in NBA than it is baseball.
Yeah.
But like if LeBron, Carmelo, Dwayne, any of those guys would take the podium, it's 15 deep.
Yeah.
To be able to, you couldn't ask a question. You had to get there 25 minutes before they get to the podium just to get your spot, just to ask one question. It's the media is so packed around their tables. I could walk up to Trout's table in the middle of there's nobody there. It was just, I don't know, like, this is the best player in baseball.
Well, because it's funny because basketball is all about the stars, and baseball is all about the teams and the regions. Like, it's a regional sport more.
Yeah.
You know, whereas in basketball it's the complete opposite.
It was fascinating to be part of MLB All, because I'd done a ton of NBA All-Star. And you get these people. LeBron, give a shout out to Germany. Your fans in Germany.
Yeah.
And LeBron, give a shout out to the Philippines. Say hello to your friends in the Philippines.
Oh, listen. My wife, when I met her, she didn't.
Oh, that's right.
She
I just said the Philippines.
Like,
I don't even think.
My wife was like, she's like, I say, well, dude, what do you watch? They're like, we watch Manny Pacquiao, we watch LeBron James, and we watch Curry. And I'm like, and Michael Jordan, and Michael Jackson. And I'm like, how do you know about LeBron James? They're like, oh, we watch all LeBron's games. I'm like, how? Like, I can't watch all the Browns games on the Bally's app. How you got it?
On the Bally's app.
How you got the Bally's app?
Bally's app is trash.
What are you talking about?
But you know what's not trash?
Colleague Racing.
Is awesome.
And I'd like to remind everybody that the 12 o'clock lunch hour of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show is brought to you by Colleague Racing, the official NASCAR team of Northeast Ohio. And, guys, we can't ignore the Guardians losing to the Yankees last night since we're talking about Aaron Judge.
I'd like to ignore them the last 2 days.
I'd like to ignore it, but unfortunately
like
we can't. We got to talk about this Yankees series. Let's get to it.
My mom called me last night.
Yeah, go ahead.
Complaining.
About the Guardians.
Like at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
I can't. They should. The Yankees guy act like the Yankees. They act like they're the best thing moving. He turned around and came back on the field. They should have kicked him out and called the cops. I said, Mom, what you talking about? She was like, my dad comes up. She's talking about the Guardians. I said, okay, all right, Mom.
Yeah. Once again, Jason's boy Josh Naylor failed against the lefty. When will this end?
When?
Josh Bell's betting about 050.
Zach's on my side in the Naylor.
I know. I texted him about those things. Oh, I forgot to tell you this. He busted my balls about this. I said when
I was sitting next to him.
Oh, were you?
Because I said he's full. Because I said Bull's obsessed with Tanner Bybee.
Right, and I said,
and then you said I was. I said it wasn't me.
I was joking. But
No, I was.
You were actually the one who suggested him first over Gavin Williams to me.
Yes.
So then I became obsessed with Bibby after that. Bybee. I keep calling him Bibby. It looks like Bibby.
It looks like Bibby.
I've been sitting there on YouTube watching his pitches. I'm like, come on, bro. You didn't watch these pro. You wasn't watching big league pitches. Why I'm watching this guy? Because I want to see him up there.
Well, if Peyton Battenfield and Hunter Gaddis keep
awful.
not being able to make it out of
pitched well yesterday too.
Yeah, and Logan, in fairness, is probably ahead of Bybee. Zach has said that.
So I should cut Bybee from my fantasy team? Is that what you're saying?
No,
keep him.
I'd keep him. I think he's coming. And Logan probably is ahead of him in terms of timing. But I think Bybee will be here this summer, certainly at the rate things are going.
I don't like to get bogged down in 1 or 2 games. Yeah, what's today? Thursday. The Tuesday game was awful. They got crushed.
Yeah.
They blew one late yesterday. But I will say, I thought they needed another pitcher when the season started. I certainly thought they needed another pitcher, and whether that's from the minors or whatever, when McKenzie got hurt.
Yeah.
2.
Now we're not going to see McKenzie till June. Savali's hurt. I don't trust Plesac.
I'm with you there.
I know he pitched, pretty well his last start. Quantrill hasn't been great so far. We'll see. I mean, I'm not pushing him off, but he hasn't been great so far. Again, the Guardians smartly don't panic. They are the anti-king of knee jerk.
Yes.
They are the king of anti-knee
Their
jerk.
knees never move. They never knock.
However, and it's fine to be patient. Nobody's running away with the division. It's not a situation where you got a Tampa that's 12-0 in your division. So they're fine. However, it's probably going to be something they have to address in some meaningful way at some point this season.
I said yesterday, I think it puts more pressure on Cal Quantrill. We know what Bieber is. He can't be any better. He is what he is.
No.
He's going to give you 7. He's going to save your bullpen that day for the most part. This really puts a lot of pressure on Cal Quantrill because you know you're going to get into your depth when Battenfield and Gaddis are on the mound.
Yeah.
I don't know how sustainable this is that you can keep running those two guys out there.
Yeah.
But if Quantrill gets knocked around and gets out early, and we've talked before about he's a slow starter in terms of April, and he gets off to slow starts, and they know that he has a track record now, and that's just the way he is. He'll get better as the year goes on. But they're going to really burn through this bullpen right now. If he starts leaving games early, he really needs to get into the 6th at minimum, if not the 7th in his starts, because you can't trust really 3, 4, and 5 right now at all.
No.
So that's where the concern is with me. It really puts a lot of pressure on Cal.
No doubt. And I don't think it's because of this reason, but at the moment, I'm not panicking. Emmanuel Clase does not look quite right.
No, he doesn't. His velocity is down.
Yeah.
Which
now
is
it's
a
building
concern.
up. It's actually going up.
But then,
But it's not where it was, and he just doesn't have the same command he had either last year. I think he'll get there. I think he'll be fine. But that's what we always talk about this, Jason. You never know from year to year with the bullpen.
With relievers.
You never know what those
And
guys.
that De Los Santos cat, he scares me too. He's now on my list.
Well, he's probably their 4th or 5th best reliever at best. It's telling to me that they extended Trevor Stephan and not James Karinchak. Like that's
right.
That tells you something in terms of how they feel, trust level, and where the organization is at. That was really interesting to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just me, man. Look, when you got guys up there throwing, low 90s, I can't trust that. Like,
isn't that funny? Like 20 years ago, low 90s would
low
have been
90s,
fine.
Yeah.
You gotta
now
be,
it's like you can't.
you
low
can't
90s.
92. That's
You
not
better
gonna
have
get
some.
it done.
You better have pinpoint command,
Yep.
and you better have some other pitches that move.
Yep.
Because if you're throwing straight fastballs at 91, 92, you got no shot.
And when they drafted, going back to Bybee, he was a command 91, 92 guy.
Right.
He's now throwing 98.
Yeah.
That's what
See,
the Guardians do.
That's why he got me watching YouTube videos.
That's right.
Like, who gets velocity? Who just picks up? That's like saying I ran a
They
4.
do that. It's amazing how they do that.
I don't know
with
how
these
they
guys.
do it.
I ran a 4.6. Now I run a 4.41.
Yeah.
How?
Like, it was always thought you couldn't do that, and they do it now with a number of guys.
And
They've
now
done that.
Gavin Williams is shoving in AA. He'll probably be in AAA sooner than
Yeah.
later. So I say Bybee's ahead of him, and he is,
Yeah.
but not by much.
I mean, obviously, some of this is they want them to get a little more
Yes.
in the minors, but it's also they don't want to start their clock.
Well, yes, but I mean, look,
Yeah.
they started Quan last year. They brought him up
true.
on day one and started him on day one. And Bybee's 24. So you're really trying to worry about his age 31
Yeah.
season?
So you think
Yeah.
so you don't think that's a non-factor?
I mean, I think the bigger factor is the fact he's not on the 40-man. And they have such a hard time creating 40-man spots right now. I don't think he's on the 40-man. I need to check that. I don't think he's on the 40-man.
He's not.
And they have such a hard time.
Explain
Right,
They
that,
moved on. They
explain
moved on.
that to novices. So it's
So-
not like I keep saying 40. We like
Okay.
40. What the hell is
All
that?
right. So once a guy is in your minor league system a certain amount of years, you have to protect him. Okay. Well, I can't remember the exact amount of years off the top of my head. Do you know it? Remember, Jason?
No, 4 or 5.
I think it depends if you came out of high school or college. It's a different amount of years.
Okay.
Eventually, let's say it's 4 years. I can't remember exactly, but once you're in the minors for a certain amount of years, we'll say 4 as an example. Don't hold us to that. If you're not placed on the 40-man roster, then you're eligible to be selected by another team in what's called the Rule 5 draft that they have in December in the winter meetings.
That's
Another
dope.
team can steal him from you.
Another
That's
team
dope.
can steal him. Now, the rule is if the other team takes him from you, they have to keep that guy on their major league roster for a complete year.
The active 25-man. So there's a 40.
Well, it
there's
could
a
be on the
25.
injured list. He could be on the injured list.
So but he got to play.
He's got
has
to be
play
on
that
the
year.
major league active roster or the disabled
Yeah,
list
yeah.
for the entire year Otherwise,
He
you
goes
have to
back to the
offer him
original
back.
team.
Well, you have to offer him back.
Right, yeah.
You pay $500,000 to take a guy in the Rule 5 draft. You offer $250,000. The team could refuse to take him back. Usually the guys go back though.
Okay.
So in the minor leagues, used to be you had a few hundred guys in your system. Now they've cut it down to 4 minor league teams each. So most teams have, I don't know, 120 guys in the minors, 130 at this point. I mean, it used to be like 200.
Yeah.
Now it's probably like 120. But you can only have 40 guys on the roster. Now, many teams have at least a guy or two on their roster, if not 4 or 5 on their 40-man roster, that they can get rid of no problem. They're not that.
They can create a spot.
They can create a spot. The Guardians have no useless spots in their 40-man roster. Everybody on their 40-man roster is useful. If you take a guy off, if you bring Tanner Bibby to the majors,
Who got to go?
So somebody on your 40-man roster, probably somebody in the minors right now.
Richie Palacios, a catcher of some
You'd
sort.
have to either trade them or cut them out. And the reason Nolan Jones and Will Benson were gone this year is because of 40-man roster spots. And that's unfortunate because they're both.
It was good
Now, we
prospects.
don't know if either one's going to. And the Rockies actually just called up Nolan Jones yesterday. Will Benson started the season with the Reds, hasn't done well so far.
And they traded him for prospects that they don't have to protect.
That they don't
on
have to
the
protect
40-man.
yet. And so that's the story when we talk about the 40-man.
reason they moved on from Franmil so quickly last year was because they couldn't like they held on to Jake Bauers for years because they were not in this crunch at the time.
Right.
Franmil was out like that.
Owen Miller, another guy who
Owen
they
Miller's
traded to
another one.
Milwaukee.
Yeah.
He wasn't good enough to keep a 40-man roster spot. What that means is they've been great at drafting and developing.
And
the criticism
they have
is
this logjam of prospects.
right. The criticism is that it's somewhere along the line, and you and I both thought it would happen this offseason. They would use some of that logjam of prospects to go get one.
I thought it
proven
would
good
happen
player.
last year.
Certainly, but definitely this year.
Yeah.
I think we all thought Sean Murphy was going to be the guy at catcher. Whatever. That's why I've been screaming for Brian Reynolds. Trade 3 or 4.
Oh yeah.
So not only if you make a move like that, it also opens up 40-man roster spots.
They got
I mean, think of it. If you traded for a Brian Reynolds, well, now you have at least 2 40-man roster spots that you could use because he's going to take one of them. You're trading at least 3 guys on the 40-man roster probably, and now you have a spot to call up Tanner Bybee or whatever. So that's why a Peyton Battlefield, who's already on the 40-man roster, or a Hunter Gaddis, who's already on the 40-man roster, are more likely to get called up at this point because you don't have to move on from somebody.
I got you. So that baseball segment was sponsored by Flair baseball cards.
Fleer.
Yeah, Flair.
Flair, whatever. Ric Flair. Go ahead, Anthony.
Well, it's actually colleague racing. But speaking of baseball, Great Lakes Collectors Convention is this weekend, guys. And you, Bull, Mike, and G, you guys are going to be there Sunday.
See what I
correct?
did?
Yeah.
I'm going to be there.
Are you
Oh,
going?
sorry.
You are
You're gonna
going?
be there
I'm
too.
back in.
I'm
Are
not
you coming
gonna
at the
be
same
there.
time as us?
You tell me what time you're going to be there. And I'll
We're going to be there 11 o'clock on Sunday.
Oh, well, that might be all right, I'll try. I'll try.
Yeah, the Great Lakes Collector Convention presented by Greenie Sports Card takes over the Field House in Independence, Ohio, April 14th through 16th, where passions of sports fan, collectors, and sports talk enthusiasts collide. 50,000 square feet of baseball bliss, hundreds of display cards, card shop, live theater with interactive appearances from the region's most notable sports media, like us. Great cards, great location, great show. Tickets on sale now at greeniesports.com.
By the way, I sent a text to the whole group yesterday saying, I need help with my Little League team. I need someone to pitch in a couple of practices, and none of you responded.
Bull, I wanted to talk to you in person about this.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could throw a strike, but I'm down to help.
You can hit a couple kids. It's fine. I do it all the
Okay,
time.
that's fine.
I do it
I
all the time.
honestly,
Do you have a lefty
I
mid I can
appreciate that
borrow?
you're willing to help, and if you want to come down and help, that's fine. But I'm like, last year I had a bunch of parents that were like played baseball. I got 2 guys that are willing to help. They're not as experienced with baseball on their own, so it's just the luck of the draw with the kids.
Yeah.
I got a good bunch of kids, but the first two practices where I've done batting practice so far, I must have thrown 300 pitches.
Bulls on the pitch count.
And, and I'm hitting the ball, and my body's not used to this. I'm out of shape, and my body's not used to it because my body's been killing me this week. My lower back's been. Even with my weight, I rarely have back problems, believe it or not. But my lower back is killing me because I'm hitting.
We do a hit club in the summer.
Yeah.
Every Sunday afternoon we do hit club,
Yeah.
and I throw probably 500 pitches.
Yeah.
Every Sunday.
Is your arm dead?
By the end of July, I
Yeah.
can't put deodorant on.
Yeah.
Like, it's so bad.
I think that's why my shoulder was hard to pick up just now. That's it.
That was it.
So it's really just like once we start the season in May, we only practice once a week, and that's fine. But right now we're practicing. Once spring break is over, and spring break for Rocky River is this week. So once spring break is over, I'm doing 3 or 4 practices a week for the next 3 weeks. So I can't pitch every day.
Yeah.
I'm getting close to having the kids that I'm going to have as pitchers. I'm in a real weird spot here. My son, okay, everybody's met Aaron. He has the strongest arm of any kid on my team.
Wow.
He has a cannon, but he has
No idea where it's going.
There's no clue where it's going. And now he doesn't even really ask me to pitch. Right now, I got him playing a lot of third base because he's the only kid that can reach first base with a throw. I got one other kid, but he's going to be one of my pitchers. So he's like overthrowing the first. Like I'm telling you, 9 and 10-year-old, most of the third basemen can't reach first. My son is overthrowing the first baseman. He's throwing really hard, way harder than I ever threw as a kid. I played first base. I did not have a good arm, but I could throw accurately. I could throw that 3-6-3 double play.
You're a command guy.
No, I couldn't pitch though. I pitched once, walked the bases loaded, gave him 3 straight doubles in my little league career. And I said, and my dad was the coach, and I never wanted to pitch, and he was like, "We need somebody."
Yeah.
He's like, "I know you can throw strikes," and then I'd never pitched before. Anyway, not the point. But I don't know. Like my son's been working out at T3 out in Avon.
Yep.
Great coaches. Shout out to Bob out there. Shout out to Nick. But I haven't had him do any pitching yet. But I'm like, he throws so hard. I think I might have to try him there.
Yeah.
But he has. I mean,
he's definitely going to earhole
has
kid.
no command.
Oh my God!
And
my son's the type of kid. If he hits somebody, he'd feel
cry.
terrible. He'd be really sad. Yeah.
Well, my dad he used to pitch, and
Yeah.
then he was our coach, and then.
Yeah.
Prior to high school and in traveling ball, he used to bring me in, and he would be like, "Look, we can't bring you in as a reliever, bro, because we can't be having dudes get walked on." And I'm like, so I used to hit a bat.
So you can't pitch either.
I had no command.
Can we get your dad to come pitch to my kids? Can he still do it?
Could he?
That would be awesome.
Probably could. He needed another hip replacement. He didn't have a knee replacement and a hip replacement. He get another one.
I can't ask him to come throw a batting practice. Got a hip replacement.
So here's the thing: if I do batting practice, I really might hit one of them kids.
Yeah.
Like literally.
Well, G, you're welcome to come. Mike, I would love for you to come. Anthony, come on down.
I could probably help. I'll have to look
Jason,
at days again.
Just the next. I texted you guys.
I'll bring
the schedule.
AJ. I'll bring
I'll
AJ.
be a bat boy.
Can
I don't
AJ
care.
pitch?
He's never pitched.
Oh.
But this is a good time to try. I really wanted to scrimmage. I mean, I don't even know my team yet.
Yeah,
I want
your
to scrimmage.
kid's older. Your kids are older, though.
Yeah,
56.
it would not go
But it
well.
might be a good experience for my kids to face older kids.
that would.
I would happily bring my kids, but they might pummel you guys. 'Cause they're pretty-
That's fine.
Yeah.
How what time?
and I'm going to tell them no mercy.
I haven't even had, like, because of spring break, our first practice it rained, and then it was spring break. So there's one kid on my team I haven't even seen yet. I actually had this kid in Pee Wee League a few years ago. I think he's pretty good. And then a couple of other kids I've only seen one time.
Yeah.
So
maybe we should do.
we'll
Let's
see.
bring the cameras. We'll my team against your team.
Yeah.
I won't throw our top guys.
I mean, that's unfair.
but I won't throw our top
2
guys.
years, my kids are 3rd and 4th, yours are 5th and 6th. That's a huge difference.
But I did a fall ball league
Yeah.
where we did kind of like 10, 11, and 12 years old, just in the fall, and they all played together.
Well, I'm playing on your team. That's it. I make it fair.
Yeah, we'll put some of the adults on the younger team.
You know,
and,
I'd have to get
we'll be
permission
good.
from all these parents.
Yes,
Here's
true.
the great thing about it. You can say,
Yeah.
look, guys, we're gonna play this team. These kids are older, but look, we're just
Good
doing it.
experience.
We're doing it to get better. When we play the teams our age, we're gonna look back.
Kind of reminds me of, remember the movie Necessary Roughness with Scott Bakula? When they played the prison team?
I was gonna say I always scrimmaged a year older than me
yes,
in
yeah.
It could be
football and
good.
soccer. So
I think
Our
Lawrence Taylor
top
was
kids,
in that.
our top kids throw smoke. So
Yeah, we can't have
I
that.
won't throw our top
Yeah,
kids,
yeah.
but we'll throw our. Some
I
of
don't
the
want
other
any of my kids getting hurt.
Nah. I think it's fun. I think we should do it.
Yeah, all right,
if you
we'll
get
talk
permission
about it.
from the parents.
We'll talk about it off.
Speaking
Here.
of
Parents,
fun, you guys
do
have
it.
any final takes?
Parents, do it.
You got a final take?
No, we haven't done final takes in 6 months.
I told
really
you on the
haven't.
call this morning to have a final take ready.
Yeah,
Jason.
but
I wasn't listening to the call.
Final takes
I have
have
ADD.
been listed
I
on
know what
our
you want.
rundown almost every day.
Right.
And yet we never do them
this
anymore.
is true.
So it's reasonable to believe we wouldn't actually get to it today.
We actually have mastered the art of doing final takes in every segment. Like we literally do final takes, like
Yeah.
as we talk. We just throw it out there, be like, yeah, that was a final take. We don't just got to label it. But, yeah, man.
Couple things. All right, here we go. Kudos to the Tampa Bay Rays to be 12-0.
Yeah.
Now, listen, they have had the easiest of easy schedules.
But
But
Boston's
12-0 is 12-0.
and Boston's getting
Boston's decent.
Yeah.
The other games were against
the
Oakland
Nationals.
and the Nationals. And 9 of the 12 games they've won are at home. However,
They're still
to
doing
win
it.
12 in a row, the longest winning streak ever to start the season was, is it only 13?
Well, see, I remember the Tigers getting off to just an obnoxious
35 and 5.
Yes.
1984 Tigers with 35 and
Thank
5.
you. Yeah.
That was
crazy.
the greatest baseball team I've ever
And
seen.
did they win the World Series that year?
They did. They beat the Padres, and I'm still bitter about
84?
that.
83?
84. It was
84.
84. I'm still bitter about that because I knew the Tigers were going to win the World Series, but they should. The Cubs had the best team in the National League that year. All right, that was when it was still best of 5 in the championship series, and the Cubs had the better record than the Padres. Tigers beat the Padres in the World Series. This is unbelievable if you think about this. If this happened now with social media, this would be crazy. In 1984, for those who don't know, if you're young, you won't know this, the Cubs did not have lights in Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
Okay? I think they got the lights at 88 or 89. I can't remember.
Hell,
exactly.
OSU didn't have, State didn't have lights
Yeah,
until
but
like
for
92.
baseball, but in baseball it was unheard. But baseball was unheard of
Yeah,
not to have lights.
yeah.
The Cubs were the only team. In '84, the Cubs made the playoffs for the first time since losing the 1945 World Series. So almost 40 years since they've been in the playoffs. First time in my lifetime. I'm 13 years old. Okay, Cubs had a great team that year. They traded. Remember the big trade they made with the Indians that year in '84?
Joe Carter, Mel Hall,
Who did the Cubs get that won the Cy Young for the Cubs?
Burt Blyleven,
No,
Sutcliffe.
Sutcliffe. That's right. Went 16-1 with the Cubs.
And Hassey, was Ron Hassey in that?
Ron Hassey was in that trade.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway,
1988 is the first
it was
game.
the first year.
I
Yeah,
wasn't
right.
even listening to you. I was responding to my wife on a text, and I still pulled that
He
off.
still pull off. Nice job. So, okay. So when the NLCS was about to start, the Cubs were supposed to have home field advantage because they had the better record. The league decided to give the Padres home field advantage because they wanted more games at night, and the Cubs couldn't play a night game.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine if that happened now, something
Oh.
like that? All hell would have broken loose.
Scandal.
So instead of playing the first 2 in San Diego and then 3 in Chicago, it was the first 2 in Chicago, last 3 in San Diego. Cubs won the 2 games in Chicago. Rick Sutcliffe, in fact, hit a home run, I believe, in Game 1 of that '84 NLCS.
Wow.
They won big. Of course, they lost 3 in a row in San Diego, including 2 years before the ball went through Bill Buckner's legs in '86. Wow. The ball went through Leon Durham's legs, who was
Nobody ever talks about that one.
Leon Durham, nicknamed the Bull. I played first base. That's where I got my nickname. Ball
I
went
never
through
knew
his
that.
legs. Yeah.
I never knew that.
I was a big kid. I played first base. I was a Cubs fan. The Cubs first baseman was Leon Durham. They called
You
me
got the
Bull.
Bull.
Yeah.
2011, that's crazy. I thought it was earlier than that.
What was 2011?
Michigan didn't have a night game until 2011.
Really?
First night game in the big house.
It
2011.
took me coming to Cleveland for that to happen.
That's crazy, right? Hey, look, see, that's Tyvis. Shout out to Tyvis. Bull, that was one of his comments. That's crazy.
Really? 2011?
2011. And I think they played Notre Dame. It's nuts.
Oh, my God. You can't be tweeting me this.
Who's that?
Texting me this. We can't say this guy's name on the air.
You can't. He's going to get some.
How are we supposed to mention this guy's name on the air? We're never going to be able to say his name.
You can't. Look, you can't.
I saw that weird text, and
I don't how like so this is real. Like I just got that. Like so my brother sent me that and he says
Hey, the Commanders got sold.
To who? Who bought the Commanders?
Magic Johnson and Josh Harris, the owner of Sixers. $6 billion.
Josh Harris's partner is David Blitzer in a lot of those deals, the minority owner of the Guardians. I wonder if Blitzer somehow.
And so Magic
part
is
of
a part of that group? Is he like the number 2 owner there?
Exclusive Dan Snyder reached an agreement in principle to sell the Commanders.
That's good for the league. Dan Snyder. But I wonder if secretly, now, Jason, the interesting thing about this, and G, is that now Jimmy's got to be pissed. Because now there's no longer a debate who's the worst owner in the NFL. The only guy you could have argued worse than Jimmy just sold the team. And the new owners, you got to give them. They're not even on the list.
what do you feel? Hold on.
Who else could we consider? Who else could be worse?
You can't say Al Davis.
People used to say Mike Brown. I mean, Mike Brown's got his flaws.
Jerry
but there's no
Jones?
way you can say he's a worse owner. as bad as Jerry is, he's not worse than
No,
that.
Jerry's not.
Jerry, I mean, and
I think Mark Davis.
Mark Davis
might be in the conversation. But I think right now, until proven otherwise, Jimmy's the worst owner.
since the Bengals is good, they got Mike Brown all the way off the hot seat,
Yeah,
bro.
I think different people would argue what makes a bad owner.
True.
It's a hard conversation to have at 12:57.
Right.
But I mean, Jimmy's in the conversation for sure.
In a way, Mike Brown is kind of like a poor man's Dolan.
Here's the messed up part about this. If Jimmy Haslam
It's a stretch.
if Jimmy Haslam wins a Super Bowl, I don't think y'all will still give him credit.
What I gotta give him credit for?
It's the pinnacle of
I
all
know,
sports is to hoist the
I would give it-
Lombardi Trophy.
I
What
would
do you
give him
mean?
some, like, I think Dan Gilbert's a shitty owner, but I give him a little bit of credit for winning the championship,
Dan
spending the money.
Dan spent the
He
money
said
and wrote the
he's-
checks.
Now look, if Deshaun Watson is good,
It would be a similar compliment to Jimmy of
Yes.
he wrote the checks and he
Right.
paid the money to bring.
so see, look, I told
Deshaun
you,
here.
But
they're not gonna give him no
But
credit.
the way you said it made it seem like he's already deserves some
No.
credit for
But
something.
if his biggest move is Deshaun Watson and he paid off, he took a gamble.
I would give him credit for
He
that,
took a
yes.
gamble on something that nobody would do.
I would give him credit for that. yes.
You would give him credit for that.
And the only reason Dan Gilbert is not lower in the owner rankings is because they did win a
The
championship.
reason I think Jimmy could escape the worst owner type argument is because he will do whatever it takes to win. He will spend
Yeah.
any amount of money
But
it
if
takes to
you
win.
do that
Except
and
for
do
that
it
roof.
wrong all the time, that's not good enough.
Well, yeah, but there are other GMs who would rather
I
work
hear
with
you.
an owner who spends than an owner who won't.
We're out of time. Check us out on Overtime.
We'll
We are
get
going to say some of the
Overtime.
craziest crap you've ever heard in your life coming up on Overtime.
We've already listen. How many topics do we have today?